If loving Yogi is wrong, I don't want to be right. What would Socrates say to that?
Fly in here. No, I'm trying to get the
It tickles my
be
face.
buzzing in my face all day.
Oopsies. I don't have hair. Ooh. You got Marco. That's not. No, that's not. Yeah, that's true. You do got me. Get over here, Marco. They don't want it. Tobin and Leroy. It deploy. Had to hit it with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better have about me, boy. Okay. Leroy and Tobin. Hold to the show, man. Still on the stars with the show, and till then his half moon open. Sometimes go taste like a snowman. No proof I'm alive by the motor. No proof. Like I always wanted him. I never hated him. I never traded him. And if I did, I never ever traded him. You know what? What is a star? Like another city, the driver's side floor. Gucci get large. So many more. 10 in the more. Never a bar. 8, 10 in the more. 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever and cute as can be. You can watch us on YouTube with view for free. Ay. This one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time wonder what they gonna do next.
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
Good morning. Donno in for Tobin today on Tobin and Leroy. I realize it's been so long since I filled in for Tobin or Leroy. I don't think I've heard that new remix of the opening track. So I don't know how many weeks or months you guys have been rolling with that, but it's been a minute. Leroy is here. I don't know where, thankfully, Tobin takes so many vacations because I feel like I do this show quite a bit, and it's always a pleasure being with Leroy and Jay Fig and Marcos. Sometimes it's a pleasure, sometimes it's not. But Leroy, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Just watched a little baseball last night and came to the conclusion that Florida won the national championship because their run differential was plus 10.
Oh, is that why? Because I don't think they won the national championship, but if you say so.
Well, clearly it.
Yeah.
And I went off on this yesterday. It is the worst stat in sports. The worst. They say, and I've asked a lot of people, and they say, it is a decent indication of how good your team is that you don't get blown out. I say, well, that's a whole different discussion because there are teams that play an entire year and win or lose the game's 7 points or less. And that can mean you're close or that can mean you're just not quite good enough. Right? But we choose to use run or point or goal differential to determine how good a team is. In case in point, last night, they lost 24-4 the night before, right?
Yep, they did.
And then come out and win 14-4 or something crazy. And I'm like, what did we learn? What did we learn? It's only 3 games. It's only 3 games. So what's an appropriate number of games where that stat matters?
Right. And I think in college baseball, it's garbage. It's basura because
home run derby every other night somebody's having a home run derby.
Like Leroy, right. I go out to I'm not going to pretend I'm some college baseball guru, but one of my favorite live sporting events you can get in this town is Canes baseball games. I go to as many Canes baseball games as I can. I've been doing it for 25 years at least, going out to Canes baseball games. And yeah, you could go out if you go out to a 3-game set at the Light. You could get like a rare, 3-2 pitchers duel, but then the next night it's like 17-4. Right.
Right.
I mean, college baseball's all over the place. Like starting pitching is inconsistent as hell.
You got one in college. You got one horse.
Yeah.
You got one horse, and now what has changed from when I was in college? So when I was in college, guess who my pitcher was at U of M? Jim Abbott.
Really?
And I remember, and I told him because, we'd hang out.
Yeah.
I said, dude, I remember watching you on That's Incredible as a kid, right? So it's like, I'm blown away. And he's looking at me the same way. And I'm like, this is crazy. But you had one horse. They didn't really do the bullpen thing then.
Right.
Like you just had a plethora of pitchers and you filled in college, right? Whether you were a starter or not, you have basically, and your bullpen was your backups, right? It wasn't a guy designated for middle relief or a guy as a designated closer, right? A lot of times in baseball, you use your fifth starter as a closer depending on the series. So from that standpoint, baseball has gotten so situational that now you only have like one, maybe two good starters in college baseball.
Yeah.
So, of course, every other night, that's why they have to pitch these stud pitchers 3 times in the College World Series in a week.
Because you got to do to win.
Right. You do what you got to do to win. And so with all this going on, with us knowing that it's very unlikely you're going to have a 3-2 game.
Right.
Because those studs pitched the last couple of days. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're to, the guys who, and now they have set up guys and closers in college. So you have even less starters.
Yep.
So, yeah, this happens every night. And it doesn't matter who you play for. It doesn't matter if you're Oral Roberts or LSU or Wake Forest or Florida. Once you get past your stud, everybody's like hoping for the best.
Well, we got a stud on this show. His name is Marcos, and he is going to grace us with some sports headlines on this lovely Tuesday.
Good morning, Donno. How are you, bro?
Good morning. I'm doing. I mean, I just called you a stud, so I know you're having a great day now. That compliment is going to get some mileage with you, I'm sure.
I appreciate it.
Why are you wearing a Bengals shirt?
Not a fan of my shirt. I'm assuming it's a tie dye. It's like a tie dye.
Bengals shirt.
You on your way to a Grateful Dead concert after the show?
Cincinnati Bengals shirt.
Is it?
Right.
Man, he wouldn't know the Grateful Dead if one of them came and slapped him in the face.
No, I've drank a couple Grateful Deads. Those are good. Those are pretty good. I'm very familiar with those, actually.
This is a good question, by the way, from Trevor in the Twitch chat. Do we know, is Dan Day in the building? How is he celebrating that LSU national title?
You know how he's celebrating?
How?
Hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason he's actually not in the building now. I think he's just getting home, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is just getting home.
There's a lot of things that we can't do in New Orleans. We can't rebuild it. We have no money. But everybody from New Orleans can drink. It is by far the single-handed most alcoholic place I've ever lived or been. And I'm including Vegas. Right? Like, yeah, man. Everybody walk around with a red Solo cup.
Yep. Seems like that's going to continue. As we've been talking about, let me actually read this first. These headlines are brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
And that's another thing that's changed since the last time I did this show with Leroy. The last time I was with you here, you didn't have your truck.
Yes, I did.
Visual.
You just read the whole line and without giving me a chance to do it.
Wow. Wow, Donno. Wow. Wow.
So
dude.
I was ready to lock your load, and then you read the whole thing. I'm like, hey man, that's my thing.
You ever seen a truck get run over?
Yeah. Look, my truck got left out here.
He's backing me over right now.
Dude, can I just tell you, this is how bored I was yesterday. I was flipping through the channels, and normally on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in the evening, I get to watch my show.
Yeah.
Right? I watch NCIS New Orleans. I've seen all the episodes, but I like it. I like, because anytime a show's done in your hometown.
Is it authentic to the city? Because I remember one of the things that bugged me about CSI Miami back in the day was you could tell they didn't really film it in Miami. Like you could tell they were in Los Angeles. Well, it was not authentic.
Their offices are actually in the French Quarter.
Okay.
So cool. From that standpoint, there's a couple of places that I'm not familiar with that they talk about, but I'm not just going to dismiss it. Right. So, but for the most part, it's all filmed in New Orleans. You can tell, like, the thing about New Orleans is you can tell just based on the houses. You can't do that anywhere else.
Right.
Right. So if they were to try to do it somewhere else, it wouldn't be authentic because of the way they do houses. Y'all never heard of a shotgun house, have you?
No,
Sounds
I
dangerous.
have not.
You walk through the front door,
Hmm.
right? And the house goes straight back. So you have a bedroom over here, a bedroom over here, right? And then you have one door in the back.
Wow.
Right. So, and they do duplexes like that. So now you have two of them. So you know when you're in New Orleans, like there's no doubt. Everybody on planet Earth knows what the French Quarter looks like. So you can't do that anywhere else. And that's probably one of the unique things about, even like every aspect of that show is that if there's ever a time where they would try to kind of do it in a studio, right away. The only thing that I would guess that they could do in the studio is the in-office stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, why would you just do that stuff there and everything else in New Orleans? I'm talking about the levee scenes, the everything. You can only do it there. And that's what kind of made that show unique to a lot of shows, because even shows that are supposed to be in Chicago or New York, they can still film that in LA.
Yeah.
Right. But not this show. So it's fun to watch, but it's not on Monday. So I have two choices. I can scroll through, Showtime, HBO, whatever, or I can watch, 17 years of Law and Order, because they, that's on. You can always find Law and Order on the channel.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But
absolutely.
The cool thing about Law and Order is all of like the people that are stars now have did a cameo in Law and Order. So I remember one episode I was watching, Zoe Saldana was speaking Spanish.
What?
Yes. Yeah, she was one of the people they questioned, for the murder, and she was speaking Spanish. So I see all these people and all these, do you watch NCIS New Orleans?
Never have, no.
So there's one girl in there, Tammy Gregorio, right? She was in Law and Order. Right? There's so you see all these people in Law and Order. It's really cool. But other than that, so I'm scrolling, and guess what I end up watching an hour and a half of?
What?
Speed Racer.
I love that. That was my jam back in the day.
And by the way, remember they did a real movie.
They did. Well, and speaking of movies, somebody put this in the chat, and I was listening to you and Tobin a couple weeks ago when you talked about this. And Leroy, I bonded with you by listening in my car because Tobin was talking about that Into the Spider-Verse movie. My wife loves Spider-Man. We went to see the movie in theaters a couple weeks ago, and like everyone acts like this is the greatest movie since sliced bread. But I had the same issue. Like I watched the movie, I'm like, man, this would be so much better if it wasn't a cartoon. Like I don't know, man. Like the animation, it gave me a headache. It almost like the animation.
Everybody says it's the best, but I would say they went cheap. Yeah, they didn't want to do the CGI.
Should have done live action.
Keep in mind, it takes longer to do an animated movie like that.
And the nerds love it because I'm in the theater with a bunch of like people like dressed up like Spider-Man. It was like all these teenagers, and they were like, it was so annoying, Leroy, because like anytime like something cool happened, they would like be applauding. I just want to watch the freaking movie.
Wait,
you don't have to applaud.
So you got some grown ass men and women dressed like Spider-Man applauding a cartoon.
It was mostly teenagers. There were a bunch of teenagers.
I bet you they cried for Lion King. I bet you they cried for Lion King.
Oh, well, I cried.
Well, I mean, that's a touching moment.
Lion King came out when I was
that
movie came out when I was in 4th grade. I cried, okay?
Yeah. It's a touching moment, Leroy. Show some respect. Both of you are being very disgraceful to cartoons at the moment.
No, we're not. I'm not spending $10 plus all of the fixins and snacks.
$10. It was like $20 per ticket.
Yeah,
what is it? $19.99?
I don't
get
know.
a $10 movie ticket.
Whatever it
Matinee.
is. I'm not spending it to go watch a damn cartoon. Yeah. I can't think of the last time I went and saw a cartoon in a movie theater. Why?
And this also, like, this is like
they got a whole
trippy.
station for that.
The thing is, like
Network.
the Spider-Verse thing, it's not just like, it's like trippy animation. Like they try, like these artists are probably like, they take LSD probably, and they all this trip. Because like I watch a lot of normal cartoons with my son. Like we watched the Mario Brothers movie. We saw that in theaters a couple months back. But like this Into the Spider-Verse, like it makes your head spin when you watch this thing. I do not recommend. Okay. What else we got, Marcos?
Wow.
Getting a lot of hate, aren't we?
Tough takes. We mentioned it already. LSU defeats Florida 18-4 in the College World Series. Sticking to baseball,
They still lose.
Who?
Huh?
LSU
They still lose because their run differential.
Isn't that like the Celtics fans? They won more quarters against the Heat. So the Celtics made it to the NBA Finals, not Miami, because they won more quarters.
Run differential. Right. Leroy's biggest enemy as of recent. But I think this College World Series proves doesn't make sense. The Miami Marlins are scheduled to begin their series against the Boston Red Sox today at 7:10 p.m.
Well, their run differential is not very good.
No.
Their record
how good is Boston?
40-39. They're a 500 team apparently.
Yeah, they're not record-wise. They're not as good as the Marlins. They are favored tonight at home. I think -130, something like that. Sandy's on the mound tonight. It's not exactly been a great year for Sandy so far.
It hasn't. My thing with baseball is you stay right around 500 or a couple games over, and then everybody hits that stretch if you're good. 15-20. Right. And then everybody's like, oh, here they come. So it happens. All you need to do is look at all the teams that are right around 500. In fact, didn't the Phillies win the World Series and they were like 10 games under 500 at this point?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So, or was it the Nationals?
I don't know. I said okay, but I really had no idea.
Right. No, I think it was Philly the year they won.
Okay.
How good or bad Boston is, they probably haven't gone on that run yet, that stretch. And the Marlins are just, I hate to say it, but they're playing Moneyball baseball.
Yeah, they are.
Right? They got one guy that hits home runs. Nobody strikes out. Everybody puts the bat on the ball. You're moving around. You got Arraez, who's always on base, right? And that starts it off. And then when Jazz gets back, you get a little more pop. He'll probably bat fifth or second. I don't know if he'll bat second because they need that. I don't know how fast he's going to be or how mobile he's going to be. So they might move him further down in the lineup. But now you got another guy coming in that has a little pop that for the most part, everybody's put the ball in play. You don't strike out like they did in the past. And that's in itself is putting them in a better position in all these games. Now we just need Sandy to be half a Sandy.
Yeah, please.
Just don't be bum Sandy. Like
ERA over 5 now.
We don't need Cy Young Sandy. But we don't need Bobo Sandy. Right? somewhere in the middle, and
sticking in baseball, the Miami Hurricanes baseball team names J.D. Arteaga as the next head coach. He was the longtime pitching coach.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I hope that they prove me wrong. It feels a little bit like when Manny Diaz was, in a roundabout way promoted from within. But Arteaga's been with, I think, 25 years. He's been with the program. I think what rubs people the wrong way was they wanted a splashier hire from outside. That's one. And also, you promote the pitching coach when pitching's been a big problem the last couple of years.
And how do you feel about that, Donno? Because we've seen situations where, for example, when the Dolphins made who's the coach that ended up going to Arizona?
Todd Bowles.
There wasn't Todd Bowles.
Oh.
The swole defensive coordinator. I actually played against him in high school. I can't think.
Way back in the day?
Yeah.
Randy Shannon.
No. But they made him the interim coach. And they thought he might get the job. And remember, Denver. Remember, he was at Denver. He was defense coordinator for Denver, and they had a terrible defense, and he kept going forward, going up. So, yeah, I don't know. Baseball's a little bit different in that there's so many different levels to it that, I mean, how much, like if you can recruit and you bring in talent.
Vance Joseph is who.
Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
But when you baseball, of all the things, and we had this conversation earlier with somebody, and he said, managers matter more now with no shifting, and now you got to be more strategic during the course of the game. And I don't know if that's what they're worried about, what fans are worried about, because the talent is the talent.
What else we got, Marcos?
And our final headline, this one yesterday is reported by Woj. The Hawks are finalizing a trade to send forward John Collins to the Jazz, upsetting Leroy.
I like me some John Collins. I've been talking about John Collins for 2 years.
Well, hey, we can't make any moves until Dame decides, and then he'll probably end up.
Yeah, you could have made that move.
Screwing us over.
You could have made that move.
Well,
they're just trying to dump salary.
Yeah. Exactly. Atlanta's
true.
largely unloading $78 million. I'm not sure if Miami wanted to take that on, to be honest.
No, it's 20. Look, keep in mind, John Collins, known for shooting the three and playing good defense, and he's got length.
Yep.
He's got length. Yep. So, like, I don't know what y'all been watching, but my last image of last season was Gabe Vincent's butt in the ass of Jokic as he's hanging on in front of the goal.
Yeah.
We got any weather or anything? I know we're running late, so I have to.
We can do weather when we get back.
Yeah, we'll do weather in the next segment. That concludes your headlines.
All right, so Leroy's going to look out the window. We'll do weather when we come back. And we need to talk about the latest on Dame Lillard. Did that meeting between him and Portland brass, did it go well from a Portland standpoint, which would not be good for Miami? We'll tell you what we know when we come back. Donno in for Tobin. Leroy's here, Marcos and Jay Fig on AM 560 Sports WQAM. Happy Tuesday morning to all. I'm Alex Donno, filling in for Brendan Tobin today. I think Leroy is, I don't know where Leroy is. He's going to make his way back into his studio in a second.
To be honest.
Marcos, I don't have the daily schedule memorized. Do we have any games we're going to play today?
Yes, indeed. I am happy to inform you we have our favorite Tuesday game, Damage is Done, my friend, which we will be participating in. And I got a little bit of summer trivia for you guys. Leroy. So I got to bring the summer trivia to you guys because Donno's in today. So you got to have trivia.
I am an expert on all things summer, so I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Summer blockbusters, summer activities. I know it all, man. I've done it all. I know it all. So we're going to get into that.
You ain't ready for Marcos trivia, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've done a few Marcos trivias in my day. I'm always expecting the Marcos trivia to be like really kind of in depth, like an episode of Jeopardy or something. And then it ends up being something my 5-year-old could put together.
Correct.
Well, wait, I think that was an insult, Marcos. Why are you smiling?
No, it was a compliment.
He's smiling. He's like,
you got me.
One man's insult is Marcos's compliment. All right. Over the past few days, Leroy, really since the NBA draft, there's been some growing buzz since the Blazers either failed to or neglected to trade that third overall pick for, a veteran, to pair alongside Dame Lillard. Growing buzz that Dame could actually be looking for a way out in Portland. Now, Dame is very loyal, and he's not like the typical superstar that is into the whole player power thing. Like, he's very loyal to Portland and very loyal to their fans, but still, there's been growing buzz from Chris Haynes and others that Dame actually might get to a point where he asks for a trade, and Miami is an interesting spot there. But then they had the big meeting yesterday afternoon, a big meeting. Lillard meeting with Portland brass, including general manager Joe Cronin, to talk about the future of the Blazers organization and kind of what his future would look like in it. We don't know a whole lot about what came out of that meeting, except the statement that Cronin, the GM, released last night. He says, quote, "I met with Dame and Aaron Goodwin this afternoon. We had a great dialogue. We remain committed to building a winner around Dame." So, Leroy, do you take that as face value? Because at face value, it sounds like Lillard wants to keep moving forward in Portland. Or do you think that's just the typical GM posturing statement?
Here's what I think. I think Dame made himself clear that I don't want to be surrounded by youth. I want a chance to win. And if you surround me with youth, that means that we are waiting for them to develop, and I don't have that amount. I don't know if I have that much time.
Yeah.
So do me a solid. If you go that route, then get me out of here. I think because while everybody thinks that ownership will do right by a player, I think that owner and that GM are saying this behind closed doors. Scoot's really good. Why don't we let this play out a little bit? We have until the trade deadline. And so they're probably saying to Dame, hey, try it out. Let's see where it goes. And then go from there. To which, and here's the important part of this, is that if Dame says, no, you guys knew where I was at, now that GM and that owner, based on what they said, they could say, hey, we made every attempt to surround Dame with talent, and he doesn't want to be here. And they put it on Dame.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Both sides want to put it on each other.
This is what organizations do.
Yep.
Dame didn't put it on anybody. Dame just basically said, I would rather not have to go through the rebuilding process because I'm 33 years old.
Right, but I'm saying if Dame, and that's what it is, because if Dame does leave, he wants to make it seem like the reason why I'm leaving is the organization's goals are not aligned with mine, so they forced my hand.
Which is on face value, if you're the outside looking in, of course, when
Yeah.
Dame already expressed, I don't want to be part of a rebuild.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, but you have to understand, like, owners and GMs, even when they don't have the power, right? Because Dame has all the power here and he's earned it. So let's not act like, oh, he's just being a needy professional athlete. That dude has been loyal when no other player would have been loyal. And so you kind of have to, if the organization does right by Dame, they could do that. But I always sense when you're a person that has a lot of money or a lot of power and somebody who doesn't, and somebody you employ now has that power, that it's not gonna go away with, we had a conversation with Dame and we're gonna do everything we can to accommodate him because we understand where he's coming from. It's gonna be, we tried to surround him, he just didn't, right? That I always get the feeling that that's what's gonna happen. Because no matter what, you're talking about the employee having more power than the employer. And you're talking about guys who are wealthy, not rich, wealthy, who've always had the power, right? Now your employee has. So it could go one of two ways. In most cases like this, they have said, we are going to accommodate this player that has done so much for our franchise. We understand where he's coming from, and we're going to do right by him.
Mm-hmm.
We've had that happen before.
Sure.
Or you have an owner that says, hold up, right? And we don't know that. This is the only time we really get to know these owners and players accordingly. Like, guess what? I mean, the most we ever heard from Mickey was when D Wade was about to leave.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So you got to put it in this proper perspective. I think we all know what the situation is. Either the organization is trying to save face, which they could save face by just doing right by Dame, or they could go out swinging, which means that they're going to put it on Dame and try to make it seem like he wasn't being patient. I don't know what that relationship is or that dynamic is, but it's unfortunate that it's happening to the one guy who we can honestly say has been more loyal to a franchise than most professional athletes.
100%, especially in that league. Right. Because in
keep in mind, it's a little different in basketball because you're still getting your max.
Exactly.
They're maxing out every time.
Yep.
So that also, think about this. I'm paying you $300 million and you don't want to be here. How does that go with an owner? So there's a lot of different angles that both sides can take, but no matter what happens, Dame's not going to come out of this situation looking bad.
No, and you're right about that because honestly, every article I read, except for one exception, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but pretty much every article I read, every show I watch, because they're talking about Dame on every day part in ESPN. And I think all the media guys are like, you know what? We totally get it. You can't win in Portland. Like it's time. You're 33 years old.
Right.
Your window's going to be closing. You've served that market and that franchise so well. It's time to go somewhere and get I think everyone would understand. All right. So we'll talk on the other side about, an argument I saw somebody make against Miami trying to make this move, which I disagree with, and also what it might take to get Lillard to Miami if he does decide to push the envelope and become available. You're listening to the Tobin and Leroy Show. Donno in for Tobin today on AM 560 Sports WQAM.
moonlight. Everybody here is out of sight, but they don't bark and
Tobin and Leroy show. We're wrapping up the 10 a.m. hour before hour 2 is going to come your way at 11 a.m. What time are we playing Damage is Done, Marcos?
Currently on our schedule, we have Damages Done at 12:35. We have a Marcos mix bag at 11:35. We have Lists of Lists. It's a new Marcos game. That's going to be at 12:20, and we have Summer Trivia at 1:20. It's an action-packed show with a lot of nonsense.
Man. I love how filling in on this show. It's like summer camp. Like you have all these activities planned. Like my kid, he spends every day from like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at day camp, and they've got activities. They got musical chairs at noon. They got like water balloon fights at 1, like stuff like that. I feel like I'm at summer camp when I do this show because Marcos always has some good stuff planned.
I remember when I was a kid, nap time was awesome. They did away with nap time.
I hated nap time. I would, as a grown up, I would love it, but as a kid, I never wanted a nap.
Really?
Yeah, I got my 9 hours in.
Hey!
Looks like you're handling nap time pretty well still, Leroy.
What are we doing?
Is that during a show?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
it's fantastic.
Look at that. Going through the archive of all the Leroy shots.
That's a good one. That one's kind of creepy.
What you guys doing? So I would say, closing up that Dame thing, that the only people that could look bad in this situation is Portland. Because Dame has put himself in a situation where he's pretty much loved by everybody.
Yeah.
And contrary to the popular belief, money isn't the power here. Image is.
Right. Because the money is the same no matter where he goes.
Right. So it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. And more importantly, you ever notice the first person to speak on the matter is usually a person that's trying to set the tone or get their side of it out.
Okay.
Right? So with his management, we have no intentions on trading Dame.
Sure.
We had a great talk with Dame. I mean, Dame was there. He didn't say that.
Right, that's true.
Right?
Only the general manager said that. What else is he going to say? Do you think the GM is going to come out? Meeting didn't go well, guys. The house is burning down.
We're going to
have to trade this
here. According to
this situation, I got some breaking news, guys.
What do we got?
What happened?
So this is following Barry Jackson's Twitter 44 minutes ago. He said, per Wendy on ESPN, Lillard did not ask for a trade during meeting yesterday, doesn't want to put pressure on the Blazers.
That's bad.
He's going to give them time to see what they can do in free agency.
Okay.
And then 4 minutes ago, he tweeted, new Heat considering multiple options with Lowry contract.
Oh, my God. So you're telling me we're going to miss out on Lillard, and then the option is going to be what does that mean with Lowry's contract?
We're going to replace him with Fred VanVleet.
Oh my God!
Just go to Lowry 2.0.
We should bring Goran back.
Let's do it.
Can I just say this? Look around the league. Everybody's 6'5" or above.
Yeah.
And your front court is all 6'11", 7 foot. The laws of averages eventually says that'll catch up to you. So as much as I think Fred VanVleet is a young Lowry, right? Do you want to spend that much money for a six foot guard? Knowing the issues that you had?
Yeah.
And let's understand, where you are. Heat culture can do a lot of things. I'm not questioning heat culture. But heat culture can't be 7 foot. Right.
You need actual 7-foot
Right.
defense. That's a problem for us right now. No question.
Heat culture ain't gonna guard Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Who's what, 6'8", and can jump out of a gym.
Yeah. Honestly, though, thinking of what Marcos was saying from those Barry Jackson tweets, I'm not really surprised whatsoever. Just what we already know about Lillard's loyalty to Portland and his personality. I'm not surprised that he didn't ask for a trade coming out of that meeting. Like him talking about him still weighing his options. You just we're still waiting on how this resolves, right? And I was reading one piece on Bleacher Report by Christopher Knox, who's kind of arguing against Miami giving up so many assets for Lillard. Tell me, I disagree with his take here, Leroy. Tell me what you think about this. He says, at first blush, the 7-time All-Star appears to be a player in whom the Heat should be interested in. He averaged 32.2 points per game last season. He would boost a Miami offense that averaged only 109.5 points per game. Partnering Lillard with Butler and Bam would certainly seem like a winning strategy. Strategy. Jeez. The problem is the potential.
He combined strategy.
Whoa,
strategy with tragedy.
It's a tough word. It might be a tragedy if you don't get the guy.
Right.
Let me continue. The problem is the potential cost. Lillard couldn't come cheap, and a trade could strip the Heat of valuable depth players such as Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, and/or Duncan Robinson, along with multiple first-round draft picks. Honestly, just those names listed there, I wouldn't think twice giving up any or all of them for Dame Lillard, right? Because Tyler Hero, his ceiling will never be as high as Lillard. Kyle Lowry has been a liability for the most part, and Duncan Robinson has been, he turned it up in the playoffs, but this guy's been overall a liability the last couple of years. And listen, draft picks are draft picks. Riley always trades draft picks. None of that would bother me if it gets Lillard here.
Right. I would say this. All those players that you mentioned don't do the one thing that you needed most last year, and that was a bona fide scorer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, forget what all your other pieces can do. He going to get me 25, 30 a game. Jimmy can do that, but that's not what he does. Dame is a bona fide scorer. If you look around the league and you look at all the teams that contended, and you look at the team that probably pushed Denver more than anybody, bona fide scores.
Yep.
And so every team that has contended has one. Miami Heat have contended and don't have one. So where would you be if you had one?
Probably hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy right now.
So forget what you have to give up. What you have to give up doesn't come anywhere close to what you need to win a championship. And that is a guy of Dame Lillard's abilities. And so from that standpoint, you make it happen, because what if the Heat proven that they can find other guys
right
to fill those other roles? I don't know about Tyler Hero, but you're in effect trading Tyler Hero for Dame Dollar.
Yeah, which I do that trade 1,000 times out of 1,000. No question. All right, we got our Tua coming up. We're going to have headlines from Marcos after this. We will I do want to talk a little Dolphins in our Tua, so keep it locked right here. Tobin and Leroy Show. Donno filling in for Tobin on AM 560 Sports, WQAM.
can go to hell. Tua Dolphins quarterback.
Daddy loves you guys.
Hour Tua with Tobin and Leroy. Check the history of food.
All right, I can never do the intro to this hour correctly, so Leroy, you can take it away. Marco stepped on you a little bit, but you nailed it.
That was perfect. It was almost like a melodic duo there.
Yeah, man. I don't know if that mixtape is going to sound that great, but it is hour Tua. And what do we have later this hour? Lists of lists. Is that coming up? That's one of the more confusing Marcos.
Oh, that's
segment.
next hour, Donno. Let's not confuse people. We got a mixed bag this hour, though.
Okay. I'll take it. Mixed bag this hour. We got lists of lists coming up later. We have Damage is Done, my friends, coming up later. We got summer trivia coming up later. In the meantime, we got some headlines. What do we got today, Marcos?
These headlines are brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
We've been talking a lot of baseball. So before I get into that, I'm going to mention a headline I wasn't able to yesterday. Do you guys know the NHL awards was yesterday?
Did we win anything? I know Tkachuk probably wasn't going to win MVP. I don't know if we had anybody else up for anything. Executive of the Year, maybe for our guy Zito. Did the Panthers take home any awards?
Well, I got good news for you. The Panthers did not. But Matthew Tkachuk finished in third place for the Hart Memorial Trophy, which is their version of the MVP.
Okay. Who won it? McDavid?
Yes, McDavid won it easily. Pasternak of the Boston Bruins came second. And our boy Matthew Tkachuk came in third. He also spoke on when he think he's gonna be back, and he says he's not sure. But definitely by the start of next season.
What did he have? Like a sternum? What was
he cracked his sternum.
Cracked the sternum.
His whole body was broken, apparently.
Pretty much, and he kept playing hockey, which is, it's definitely a unique thing to hockey players these days. These guys will play through anything.
He had an arm sleeve, and it says that it could take up to 8 to 12 weeks to heal.
Jeez.
But even if it's a little bit longer, he should still be back on ice before preseason in late September. So that's good news.
Yeah.
The baseball that I was referring to earlier, the LSU Tigers win the College World Series, even though they lost a run differential. So technically they lost.
And Dan Day was spotted shirtless running back and forth 79th Street outside, and pantsless possibly as well.
A little. He probably looked like one of those chickens crossing the road, right?
By the way, when I was I filled in several days recently on the Joe Rose show, and there was you're arriving at the station like before the sun comes up, right? And there was one day where I got there especially early, like around 4:30 a.m. and I'm like, driving in the middle of the night, driving around, and I'm pretty sure I saw a lady of the night like being picked up. I'm pretty sure that I saw that around 4 a.m. Yeah, I kind of felt like, man, it's too bad I got to go into work.
Hey, Donno, maybe that was Uber.
Yeah, maybe it was an Uber, Donno.
Maybe, I don't know.
There was actually an incident that happened involving like a gunshot or something like that. I guess someone didn't pay their tab, and it was very scary during the morning show. This is maybe about a year ago.
That's
it gets crazy around here, Donald. Don't ever come to work too early. What are you doing?
No, then the next day I came at like 5:57 a.m. Like I didn't take any chances the next day.
All the hooligans are asleep by 5:30 a.m. for sure.
Even Marcos.
Indeed. The Miami Marlins begin their series against the Boston Red Sox today from Boston. That is my evaluation.
We basically own them, so
yeah, we are Boston's
why
daddy.
should it change in baseball?
Right. Correct. Yeah, that's right. Hockey, basketball. Maybe Sandy turns back into prime Sandy again.
Football.
Whoa.
Football. Yeah, that's right.
And I mentioned this earlier as well, although there is some mixed reviews on the hire. The Miami Hurricanes promote Jay de Arteaga as the new baseball head coach following a extended tenure of 20 plus years as a pitching coach. So reports is Alex Donno labels this the new Manny Diaz.
Oh man, no, that's the way it's being perceived.
Mhm.
The way that
Nope.
the way it's being perceived is that.
Nope.
So I got to see who's going to fill out the staff, because they're, apparently they're being pretty ambitious with his staff, which I hope comes to play that way. And for baseball, especially at a place like Miami, the NIL is extra important because there aren't as many full scholarships. Miami has to use a lot of partial scholarships, and with the tuition being very expensive, that puts you at a bit of a disadvantage. So you have to use NIL to compensate for that. So the NIL from a baseball perspective needs to be stepped up in a big way to help recruiting.
Here's the deal. If Miami had won the World Series, we would not be saying this.
Right.
That an in-house hire is bad.
Oh, for sure. You'd say continuity.
Because we've seen it with Canes football for a number of times, where from Butch
to Coker.
To Coker.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen this. And nobody complained about it because they said Coker's our guy and in-house is great. And it
was a great short-term hire because he could babysit that team to a championship, no problem. Not a good long-term move, but in the short term, it got the job done.
As a organization, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, it depends on what you need.
Right.
Right? Do you need things to continue, or do you need that new voice from outside to change the way you do things?
I think
that's kind of the question.
Strong argument for needing a new voice when 5 straight years they haven't gotten past the regional. They haven't been to Omaha in a very long time. So,
but it's baseball though.
Yeah.
So unlike all the other sports, talent rules in baseball. Am I off on that?
Yeah. No, you're not.
Right?
You're not.
You get a good arm or you get a good bat. You can kind of overcome a lot as far as what you think your manager is or isn't doing.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that talent, I don't know how much coaching them up is going to make more of an impact.
Fair. You need arms. This is the big thing because where Miami, the difference between Miami and the LSUs and the Florida of the world was just not having enough pitching, not having enough arms.
And as we can see, Florida didn't have enough arms. They had 8 arms.
Even they didn't have enough arms, and Miami had fewer arms.
Right.
I have an arm. You have an arm. Someone throw me a bone or an arm and a leg. We just did 2 radio shows for a second as the computer crashed yet again.
What?
So that is an issue that we had yesterday, Donno, as we were doing this show. The computer that you lovely, handsome young gentlemen are attached to has been having some issues and crashing. So there's times where I will disconnect from this. You guys will be running a professional show on our YouTube and Twitch, and I will be driving everything into the ground on the radio. So I was able to inform the audience of what was happening, as well as inform them that the Panthers have a draft tomorrow. So we may be all drafted out because of how is, but
I'm going to rank these in order of importance.
All right.
See if you follow me. Number 1, football. Football draft is king.
1,000%. And it's not close. It ain't
it's not close.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the MLS draft for a second, but no, football draft.
Then basketball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go with
Major League? Or no, I would say hockey over baseball. I would say
you go hockey over baseball?
I go hockey over baseball. Yeah.
Okay. Especially with the impact these young guys have made recently.
Yeah.
With McDavid and Tkachuk.
I don't even they have got 1,000 rounds, and a lot of the kids that get drafted later, they're not going to ever actually get to the majors. I don't know.
Least important is baseball.
Yeah.
Because you could. Well, I'm still waiting for JJ Bleday.
Me too.
Right?
Still working on it.
So just because you get drafted high doesn't mean that you can be a first round pick. You're not you can be the first pick in the draft. It doesn't mean you're a can't miss, unless it's an arm. Usually, high drafted arms work their way to the majors, but everybody has that minor league time. They don't call guys up right away anymore. In fact, they hold them back so they can get that extra year.
By the way, Florida does not have a first round pick.
Oh man, who did we? Was that part of the Tkachuk deal?
I believe so. Yeah, it was part of the Tkachuk deal. So now
that was worth it then.
Yeah, I'll take it, dude.
Because even if they did have a pick, it would be 20, I think number 30 out of 31. 30. Yeah, I think there's 31 teams. 30, yeah, it'd be number 30.
Wait, they don't do the whole regular season thing. Like, for example, that's why the Miami Heat were in a great position because they outlasted a lot of teams, but they had the highest.
Oh, that's right. It goes by regular season. No, I'm not sure. You may be right because I think it's like the basketball draft, so it probably does go by regular season.
So that means they're going to be right in the middle.
Yeah, it would have been in the middle.
Would have been
because they barely squeaked in.
It's too bad.
Too bad indeed. So now we only have picks in the second round, the fourth round, and I'm not even.
How many rounds are there in hockey?
7.
7 apparently. We have 2, 4, 5, 6.
Hey, when I got drafted, they had 12 rounds.
In football, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You did
Imagine being Mr. Irrelevant there.
You did 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5. No, wait. Because I think the draft started on Saturday.
It did, yeah.
So I think you did 3 or 4 rounds the first day, and then the rest on Sunday.
What round were you drafted in?
Second.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember if it was second.
I was
first.
Cleveland's first pick, so
that's
I got
awesome.
a little bump up because they didn't have a first rounder.
Yeah. I was talking yesterday with he goes on this station a lot, professional sports handicapper Lee Sterling, and I told him I'm going to be on 10 to 2 tomorrow with Leroy Horde. He's like, Leroy Horde from the Browns. I love that dude. You got some fans out there.
It's amazing. Like I tell people all the time, I'm known as a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah.
You do realize I had more success in Minnesota.
And I even said that, like when I was talking to him, I was like, oh, I'm going to be on with a former Vikings player. And then I said your name. He's like, oh, the Browns. That's where he remembered you from.
It's a weird thing that you're associated with a team that you didn't have as much success with as your next team. But everywhere I go, that's where it is, except Minnesota.
Right. When you do Cleveland radio and stuff, so you're more of a Cleveland guy from where I sit.
Yeah. I do more stuff in Cleveland. It's a different animal up there, dude. Oh God. It's just I mean, think about this. People park their cars downtown on Friday and Saturday so they can have a good spot on Sunday, and they just leave their car.
Wow.
That's how crazy it is. They closed down most of the streets downtown, and bars and people rent that space and have giant tailgates.
I don't know if Marcos is doing the other show right now. I don't know if he's doing the radio thing.
No, he says, let's go to break.
Okay,
let him reboot.
All right, Marcos is going to reboot. We're going to reboot as well. I'm going to drink some coffee. You're listening to the Tobin and Leroy Show. Donno in for Tobin on AM 560 Sports WQAM. So I guess he's got to hold it down for a short segment on radio. Or are we on? Are we on now? Are we on Twitch right now?
Yep.
Hello. Oh, here we go. So maybe we can entertain the people on Twitch and YouTube for a little bit while Marcos is holding it down on the radio. I saw a couple people, Leroy, in the chat were disappointed that we're in hour 2. We hadn't done any Dolphins news yet. I did see that the
time and place. We appreciate doing. We appreciate talking Dolphins all the time, but it's June. Like I don't want to. Like the only thing that is probably a topic of discussion is Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And from what I'm understanding, it's between the Jets and the Dolphins. And if you're wondering what the best opportunity for Dalvin Cook is, probably be the Dolphins. Even though I would rather not. Like, I just think you have too many guys up to tie in that much money on a position that you probably figure you have filled.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say you have that position filled, is Dalvin Cook enough of a game changer to be worth the money and the fact that you just signed 2 other running backs and drafted one?
Right. Yeah, and I like the guy that they drafted out of Texas A&M.
Right.
And that's obviously running back is not like usually the type of position where you need years of development to be ready to play. But it's like I guess the way that the Dolphins just look at it, depending on the price, Dalvin Cook, he's a difference maker. Like he can be an absolute difference maker and a well-rounded back. And the fact that he's from down here, Miami Central, and all that, I'm sure he'd probably prefer to be here than New York. As far as
here's the other thing though, Donno.
Yeah.
They have a stud running back there waiting to return.
Right.
What happens when he returns? What does that do for Dalvin Cook? So those are other things that he has to consider.
Right. Breece Hall. Yeah.
Right. But here's the kicker. You're not going to give up $5 million to make less. Because if you had done that, you could have stayed in Minnesota.
Exactly.
So you're talking about $6 million plus, and you got a couple of guys on your team that need to be re-signed. So I ask you, as much as everybody wants Dalvin Cook down here, with the guys you have up who want a new contract, and the running backs that you have and have brought in, is it a good financial move to give another running back $5 to $10 million?
No, not when you're looking at your future being able to lock down your defensive linemen.
You got
Sealer,
you got
Wilkins.
Right. So that's where you are. That is the real conundrum for the Dolphins.
Right.
But more importantly to me is if I'm going to make a move like that, he has to be substantially better than what you had. Keep in mind, you had 2 running backs who almost averaged 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, I know. It's just Cook is a different animal. But if you hadn't already re-signed these guys, right? If you would let one of these guys, and totally. So if you would let Wilson or Mostert, one of them, walk already, then I think that would be perfect to sign a Dalvin
different
Cook.
conversation.
Different conversation. Because I would take Dalvin Cook over either of those guys,
right? But not that you just signed them.
Isn't it crazy to me that? Like the way the landscape of the position you played has changed so much where, I mean, Dalvin Cook is 27 years old and people look at him like this is a running back who's on the back 9. Like it's crazy to me how at 27, I mean, any other position, 27 is like entering the prime. Well, how have things changed like that with running back?
There's a couple of things. one, football has gotten so situational that you've eliminated those guys who give you the ability to be in all those situations.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook's one of those guys. Okay. The other thing is that say what you want, but when it gets to December and January, those 25 carries for 100 yards or those 25 carries for 80 yards in the cold, in the adverse conditions at the end of a game mean something. And there's not a lot of backs who have the size nowadays to take that beating.
That's right.
And so you're kind of, now everything is a skill position, right? So you want running backs who are fast. You want running backs who can do this, running backs. And I think the teams that have success just have a running back, right? I mean, you look at all the teams who have legitimate running games. You can even go to the Cowboys.
That's true.
Legitimate running game. Tennessee, legitimate run game. Baltimore, their whole offense is centered around running the football, even with an MVP. They don't have to come up with intricate run game schemes to get guys running all over the place. They can just line up and go at you, because there's going to come a time in the season where you got to line up, beat the guy across from you, and control the ball. That's what is needed that we tend to overlook. And those guys that can do that are few and far between. You only got a handful of running backs in the league, and that's why people say we don't need a running back. You don't need a running back because you don't have one.
Exactly.
But those guys who have that horse, they are really, they're really excited to have that guy. You don't have to use him every week. But when it gets down to the nitty-gritty in the games, where you want to have a substantial run game where you can, in these games, how is she going to keep Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers off the field?
Yeah.
Not throwing those dink and dunk passes.
Yeah. Run the ball, burn the clock. That's how you keep them
right.
off the field.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, and I'd like to.
So when you think about it, offense was built differently in the 90s and before that. Everybody started with controlling line of scrimmage offensively and defensively, running the football, controlling the game clock, right? We've gotten away from that. But when you get to the crucial times of a game or a season, guess what you need?
Yeah. And it used to be like that for 4 quarters. I wasn't alive in 1972, but I've watched enough documentaries.
All they did was run the ball.
That's exactly it. Like I've watched enough documentaries about the perfect season because I grew up obsessed with that. And listen, I know Bob Greasy is a Hall of Famer, but that was a lot more about what Zonka and Mercury Morris and Jim Kick and company were doing on the ground. Like that was the real driver for that team, whether it was Greasy or Earl Morrall at quarterback. That was all about the run game. And then it was like that, even into my era watching football into the 80s and into the 90s, it was like that for most of the time as well.
Play action doesn't work if you don't run the football.
Exactly.
That's why play action is so devastating for, like, when you think of Baltimore and what they do. They've been so good running the football that now you go play action with Lamar Jackson, who can also run the football. It creates space downfield.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand it. I listen, I'm not saying that Dalvin Cook wouldn't help, but I'm saying at the price, he's not going to be that substantially better than the guys you paying $2 and $3 million to. So you're telling me if you pay Dalvin Cook $6 or $7 million, is he going to be twice as good as those guys?
No.
Right. So that's where I am with that. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the talent of Dalvin Cook.
Right.
It has to do with your situation as an organization.
Somebody, Mark D. Heat says, Donno wishes he had hair and was suave as Jaime Jaquez. And I wish I was getting the bag that he's getting, even the rookie contract. I wish I was getting a bag like Jaime Jaquez, who listen, I'm liking him. He's got that whole what is he? He looks like the villain from the new Star Wars movies, whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. He's got the Kylo Ren looking thing going.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I know we'll be talking more throughout the day about the Heat's pursuit or non-pursuit of Dame Lillard. So we're going to hit a break. I think we're going to be back on the radio as well. They were rebooting that problematic computer, Leroy. So we're with you now on YouTube and Twitch and whatever other online mediums, and we'll be back on AM 560 Sports as well. When we come back, keep it locked. Tobin and Leroy Show. Yes, here we are back on a new episode of Tobin and Leroy, 560 WQAM. Donno in for Tobin today. Leroy, any idea where Tobin is this week? He taking the kids to Disney? Is he out in Vegas? Where is he?
I think it's him and his wife went somewhere.
Oh, without the kids? That's nice.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, I know his exact longitude and latitude.
Do you have you pinged his phone or something? You track his whereabouts?
Yeah. Gotta watch him. Gotta watch that guy. I don't know where he is, but I wanted to ask how your show went. How was your show going?
It was funny because when we like started, we were back live on YouTube and Twitch. I had no idea. Like I thought we were just waiting for you to do race. So I'm like, oh wait, I think we got live mics now. So we just started talking about Dalvin Cook and the Dolphins and running backs. So it was probably the type of football show that I think the YouTubers and Twitchers appreciated, but the radio people missed out on that. So maybe we'll have to remix that and run that back later in the show.
Yeah, I yelled at Germany for my 10 minutes. Yep.
It's because those tickets in where is it, Frankfurt, where they're playing the game?
Yes, Frankfurt.
They sold out in 15 minutes, huh?
Yeah, and in 2 minutes they had 1.4 million people in queue. And I was angry because I don't like the fact that the NFL wasted a game, a coveted game such as Kansas City versus Miami on Frankfurt.
That's ridiculous. And they missed a perfect opportunity because that would have been Tyreek Hill's return to Kansas City. Instead, it's Tyreek's return to Frankfurt, apparently. Yes, we get the game here. You bring it to Frankfurt. It's beautiful. We play American football. Yes, let's do it.
Why do you sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's not German?
He's
German is his first language. Austria is right. It's just
next
one. You hop right over the border, and there you are.
Nah, he's German.
I mean, you get
to the chopper.
All the countries in Europe, it's very like me driving to Orlando. If you're driving in Europe, in the time it takes me to drive to Orlando, you can drive through like 4 countries. It's all the same thing,
except for the war and the disputes and the armed borders.
Yeah,
they don't have armed borders there anymore.
Anymore?
No, they don't. I mean, maybe during like World War II, they might have had armed borders. They don't have armed.
Yeah,
borders.
Leroy.
You just felt like what it is now because of the European Union, and they're all kind of like it's almost the same country. They just speak different languages, and all the corrupt governments there are different. But like they don't even stop you at the border anymore. You just like you're driving like through Italy, and then all of a sudden there's a sign that's like "Willkommen to Austria." Like, oh, I'm in Austria now. Here we go. That's all it is.
Oh, it's basically the difference between Broward and Miami.
Kinda, yeah. You know, like you're driving on the turnpike, and then you're driving on the curve, and then suddenly there's this sign that says "Now in Broward County." That's what it is. It's like you're driving through Italy, and there's a sign that says "You're now in France." Oh, here I am. That's kind of how it is now.
That's what my daughter wants for her sweet 16.
What does she want? A trip to France?
To Paris.
Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't want a party or a sweet 16 or anything like that.
Huh. There's no Paris, South Carolina you can take her to or something like that.
There is a Paris, South Carolina.
Dude, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's already been planned and negotiated, and I had no part in it other than being the financier.
You realize you could send her to Epcot and she can go to like 12 countries in one shot.
My daughter's going to be 16 years old. You think she's not going to know the difference? She's not 5.
Not true. But my 5-year-old doesn't know the difference. When I take it to Epcot, we're in Mexico. Dad's gonna drink some margaritas, and now we're in Norway. Dad's gonna drink some beer. Like,
you go home.
No,
your son's whenever Dad travels, he drinks so much.
Yeah.
Well, look, I know we were scheduled for Mixed Bag here, but just due to my sheer fear that the computer's going to crash, and just to get a little bit more of whatever we were discussing prior to being disconnected, are you comfortable, both of you gentlemen, with saving Mixed Bag for the next segment?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm comfortable with it, but I can go with the flow. I can do that. I can manage that. I'm not even sure what the Mixed Bag is, to be honest.
Don't worry, none of us
mix it all up, baby. Nobody knows anything.
Don't worry, nobody knows. No, nobody knows.
I'd be more uncomfortable if we were doing it now. So I guess I am comfortable with pushing it back to a later time. In the show.
So we have. By the way, I just see pool guys going in and out. That's got to be a good thing.
Good. Get that chlorination on.
Well, dude, it's been 2 months.
Is the pool getting green?
No, it's getting resurfaced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 2 months. I think I put deposit April 25th. And I'm still waiting.
That's typical.
No, but July 4th. Come on, dude.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like at some point you gotta have a general idea of, hey, guy probably wants us done by July 4th.
Absolutely.
Never thought it was. I in a million years, I never thought I would have to ask the question, will this be done by July 4th?
Right.
Never even a consideration.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and I want to punch myself in the nuts for not asking that question in the beginning. Right?
April 25th, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, should have been done.
Yes. So, like, yeah, I'm mad at myself. I wasn't clear, right? And here's the problem. Because when you get stuff like this done around your house, you got to be a jackass about it. And you don't want to be, but it's reasons like this right now that I'm wondering if my pool's going to be done by July 4th, that I should have been a jackass earlier.
Yep.
And everybody says, oh, why are you so this? Why are you so? This is why.
Do you have a backup plan for July 4th? Like if you need to go to
house.
But if you need to go to someone else's pool for the festivities and the grilling, do you have like a fallback plan?
Everybody's coming here.
Oh no, that's
right. It's been planned. Been planned.
Oh,
well in advance.
How many people can fit in your jacuzzi?
Huh?
How many people can fit in the jacuzzi?
Right now? Nobody.
Yeah. All right. Inflatable pool in the living room. Hear me.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah.
We got to hose. If you want us to hose ourselves off, that's going to be our water sport.
I'm gonna have to build a slip and slide in the backyard with. I'm gonna go old school. Garbage bags. Put some detergent on it.
Yeah. So you won't even spring for. I think you can get a slip and slide at Amazon for like $35. You won't even spring for the real thing.
$35.
I don't know. It might be $20. I'm just throwing out a random number. I don't know.
$35. Dude,
garbage bags.
Donno, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Donno, let me tell you.
Yeah.
You have made me even madder.
Why?
Here's why. Because I'm thinking about the amount of money that has been spent or has to be spent to fix my pool. And you're saying that I should go buy something else.
Yeah.
I've got a couple price quotes for you if you're interested in the going rate of a slip and slide these days. They have different sizes. If you want the Jumbo XL Premium slip and slide with 3 body boards that come with it in 3 lanes, so 3 people can slip and slide at once, $46.99 on Amazon. It's not a bad deal.
Come on, that's good of you.
I got a yard.
Yeah,
there you go.
If you want one that's only 2 lanes, but it's a little bit longer, so there's more, it's a longer strip to slip on, then that's $44.98, which looks like a pretty sweet deal as well.
Solid.
Yeah. Okay, if you want just the old school single lane slip and slide, $38.99. I would not recommend that. That's not a good of a deal as the other one. So that's what you're looking at, about $45. So
I can get 3 more lanes for $14. 2 more lanes.
Seems like a great deal.
And a boogie board.
3 boogie boards come with
3 boogie boards.
Yeah.
If you want to do an even cheaper option, I can go to your house with some trash bags. And
hey,
for the ground.
Wait, no, I can't let you come because you're gonna turn it into game night.
Come on.
Yeah. You're gonna be playing damage is done, my friends. You're gonna have a bag.
We got prop bets over under. Huh?
Oh, see,
Well,
if you're actually doing prop bets, I may have to come over for that.
Oh,
'Cause any excuse to gamble, I'm there.
I like prop bets. I think prop bets are more fun than the game sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. I look forward every year to betting on what color the Gatorade's going to be in the Super Bowl, or like who's going to win the coin toss.
Dude,
I've hit
4 straight national anthem over-unders.
Wait, my favorite thing ever is one year Robbie was telling us the over-under for the national anthem, and he sang it. And he goes, I even left a couple of extra seconds for extracurriculars. I can't get there. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he win that year?
Huh?
Did he win the bet?
Yes.
Oh.
But there's always
worth it.
There's always controversy, because at the end, if they add a little extra free, at the end, then people say, did it end with the first free or the second free, or did it end when she stopped singing?
It's when you stop singing is always how they do it. I'm an expert on this because, again, I've won 4 straight national anthem bets.
Right.
Yeah, it's when they stop it.
Oh, I locked and loaded for the I did the Heat to go to the finals.
Oh, I know
pocket change.
I know somebody else who did that and they won big. I wish I'd locked that in.
But I also hedged my bet, and I bet them the first game. So once I won the first game, I was house money.
Yeah. So I want to take an extra angle, Leroy. Now, during the video only segment that we just did when the radio station was not functioning a few minutes ago, we were talking about Dalvin Cook and how, like, fiscally paying $5 or $6 million for Dalvin Cook when you're taking salary cap space away from other areas and players the Dolphins need to re-sign, and you've got a pretty loaded running back room, although none of them are as good as Dalvin Cook. But
Right.
It's probably not the best financial decision. So do you put any stock to this idea, though, Leroy, that if the Dolphins don't sign Dalvin Cook, the New York Jets likely are? So that would be helping a direct right. Do you consider making that deal, because it's a double? If you make that deal, not only do you get the running back who becomes the best on your team, but you also keep him from going to one of your primary rivals in the division.
At what cost? Let me ask you a question. I make you Sealer or Wilkins, and you see them spend that money on a running back with what you know is in that running back room. How do you feel?
Not very good, because then they're probably going to try to lowball me on a hometown offer. But what if Dalvin Cook goes to the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers has a really good year? They finish first or second in the division. You don't go to the playoffs. Like, I think about these things, man. That's a double whammy. You make that move to keep him off the other team.
Here, you can't sign a guy just because you don't want the other guy to get him.
That's only a bonus. That's the added part of it.
At some point, you have to feel confident with what you have and how good you are.
Right.
And what another team does doesn't matter. So are we there? Or are we still trying to sign guys to keep other guys? Are you that afraid of the New York Jets?
With Dalvin Cook, maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Let me explain something to you.
Talented team, the New York Jets.
Let me explain something.
I don't believe they're as good as the Dolphins, but if the Jets sign Dalvin Cook and we don't, and if Tua has any injury issues and Aaron Rodgers doesn't, then they could absolutely finish ahead of the Dolphins.
Then the issue is the Tua injuries. It ain't Dalvin Cook. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Understand this also. Understand how Mike McDaniel runs the football. Everybody touches it. You're all over the place.
Right.
How are you going to use Dalvin Cook? Everybody makes it sound like, oh, we got our workhorse. That's not what they do.
Right.
So you're bringing in a guy who's a workhorse that ain't going to get worked.
I don't think he wants to get worked either, because the way he talks, it sounds like he even says, I'm willing to give up some carries to play for a championship contender. So I think
okay, but guess what? If you're giving up carries, you're giving up money.
You better give up money, yeah.
Right. So this is a lot deeper than just signing Dalvin Cook, is what I get. Everybody wants to have. Yes, he makes your team better, but there's a lot of other things. And your decision for signing Dalvin Cook can't be because you don't want the Jets to sign him.
That's 4D chess right there. I think that can be part of the reason. I think if I'm in Chris Greer's office right now, I'm saying, Chris, not only can I interest you in one of the better running backs in the entire league, who's still 27 years old. He's got some mileage left on the odometer.
You got 3 good years out of him. That's what
three good years out of him, and you can keep him away from another kind of up and coming. Although they got like a 40-year-old quarterback now, but an up and coming team with an old ass quarterback who's trying to win now. You can keep him off that team. That sounds like something I'd be interested in.
How can I put this? If you're that worried about the Jets, you got other problems.
I think you always have to worry about the other teams in your division.
You do, but at what cost?
Right.
I'm not ruining my salary cap space just to keep the other team, who I think I'm better than, from signing a guy. That sounds ridiculous. At some point, you got to have confidence in what you're doing and who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Way, you can't have all this. Yeah. Like, how confident does a team sound? Oh, we signed him so the other team wouldn't get him.
By the way, here's my problem. I realize it because Trevor in the chat says, Donno, you're being worried about the Jets is hilarious. Stop it. You know what my problem is? I watch too much ESPN because I watch, what does Tobin call it? Jet Up. I watch Jet Up. That's why I'm worried
about it. Right. That's I get it. I understand all that. I understand. Oh, my goodness, they're going to be good. We are making a terrible assumption. Because guess what?
Right.
Let's be clear. If I'm signing a quarterback for $50 million, I'm not getting a running back so we can run it 30 times a game. So if Dalvin Cook goes there, are you afraid of Dalvin Cook or Aaron Rodgers?
You know what? Another part of my problem is, Leroy. I've got Dalvin Cook PTSD because I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan.
Wait,
that guy.
How do you think I feel?
Yeah.
What about the Orange Bowl in Michigan and Florida State?
Yeah. Dalvin Cook, when he was a Seminole, there were at least 2 games when Florida State basically beat Miami because Dalvin Cook just put the team on his back. And I got bad.
When does that happen in the NFL?
Yeah, not too much. Maybe 20 years ago, Ricky Williams could do that.
Everything is centered around the quarterback and throwing the football. So you're talking about a position that nobody deems to be important in football right now, and you're saying we're going to make it important.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man. Like, go. I think you get more out of not signing him and taking that money to sign one of your guys. That'll go a lot further than bringing Dalvin Cook and putting him in that running back room and then trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. Because guess what?
I would sign him and not play him a single game just to keep him off the Jets.
Here's the other thing. Mike McDaniel personally probably went to the 2 running backs and got them to re-sign because that's his boys.
Yeah.
What are you going to say to them? How are you going to look as Mike McDaniel when you convince those 2 guys to sign and then you bring in Dalvin Cook? Now, contrary to popular belief, that may look bad for just those 2 guys, but everybody else on the team is looking at that situation and saying, hey, if that's me, I'm going to get mine. I'm not staying I'm being loyal because that don't mean nothing.
See, that's a great point you make there because I'll be honest, I don't really care that much about Jeff Wilson's feelings, but I do care about, you talk about setting the precedent for the rest of the team. I do care about that. That's important.
Right. You get like here's what happens. The organization and the head coach and the GM have to be consistent with the message they're giving to the team as far as how they're going to do things, when they're going to do things. Because now, guess what? If you do something like that, then all the other players say, I better get mine when I can. Yeah. Right? Now you're talking about holdouts or whatever. Whereas if you look at a situation like the Miami Heat, right? No player has ever put pressure on that organization to take care of them because they've always taken care of their guys.
That's right.
So you don't have to
Hold on. We're late. Let's
right.
table this. We'll continue on the other side. Plus, we're going to get some headlines from Mr. Tie-Dye Marcos when we come back. Keep it locked. Tobin and Leroy Show, AM 560 Sports, WQAM. Oh, Jay Fig is in. Hello, Jay Fig. Do you have any 4th of July plans coming up?
Okay.
You going to Leroy's house?
Hey guys.
Yeah, what are your plans? Tell us everything now.
You know what? I invited Leroy to my house thinking that he needed
Yeah.
a pool. I have a pool for
Yeah.
you. So my house is open if you'd like.
Okay.
Well,
You
but
can
he's
bring
gotta
your
bring,
people
I
over.
was going to say, he's got to bring all of his guests
My
over, too.
backyard fits like 200 people. You're good.
Whoa.
Oh, well, I'm coming too then.
Let me see if I can.
Party!
Yeah,
We need a party bus to get down there.
Wow.
fine. What do we got? Let's get. What are you? If Jay Fig is here, does that mean we're playing a game? Are we doing headlines? What are we doing, Marcos? I'll let you drive.
We're just
the ship.
doing headlines.
Sure. We're doing headlines that are sponsored by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
Is that an F-150?
No, Raptor.
Raptor.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Which I don't know what that means, but it sounds vicious.
Sounds-
A little sportier.
fast.
A little sportier
Yeah.
F-150.
Gotcha.
Newer,
Yeah.
nicer.
Newer, nicer. Yep. I'm telling you, the one Ford that I would drive, the Lightning. That thing.
They still make those?
They just started making them. What are you talking about? It's
No, they
electric.
had lightnings when
No.
I was in high school.
No.
Not Lightning McQueen.
No, they had the Ford Lightning truck. A buddy of mine in high school had one of those. They were super
Are
fast.
you sure?
Well,
I'm
It's,
positive.
it's
Ford
electric.
Lightning.
He's making
It's
stuff.
electric.
Okay,
truck.
no, it was gas. It was like
I know, Donno. I know. It's electric.
Feel it. It's electric.
maybe
Right.
he was from the future.
Boogie, woogie, woogie.
Woogie, woogie, woogie. You guys want some headlines?
No,
Sure.
but go ahead.
Fair enough. Miami Marlins streaking at the moment, doing an
Yes.
excellent job of
Streaky,
maintaining-
or is that
They won
Van
3
Day?
or 4.
That is also Dan Day streaking to celebrate the LSU. I like to call them the Bonton Tigers just because I watch True Blood and I know that's that's the area. But out of respect to the New Orleans brethren on this show and affiliated with this show, congratulations LSU Tigers for winning the national championship baseball.
Go
National
Tigers.
World
Well,
Series.
listen, I'm just happy. I know they got farther than Miami did. I'm just happy the Gators lost because I'm a
Yeah.
hater. I'm a hater. So somebody
Right.
else other than the Gators wins the CWS. I'm down. Let's
Uh-oh.
go Tigers.
Donno, you were right. They brought it
Mm.
back and it's electric.
I told you.
Woogie woogie woogie.
Either that or my friend was from the future and he brought his 2023 Ford Lightning back to like 2002. Yeah.
Still not out of the question. Still not out of the question. Other baseball related headlines. The Miami Marlins begin their series against Boston Red Sox today, and I got some good news for you guys.
What? Sandy's not pitching tonight?
Jazz Chisholm's back.
Jazz Chisholm makes his return.
Let's go.
That
What do
was
you
a
think?
guess. That was a guess, by the way.
Fifth in the order? What do you think?
Want me to tell you what to do? Well, I was
Yes.
I was right? Either second or fifth. Here. Look at his shoe.
All right.
If you see the shoe that he injured his toe on, usually what they do is they cut a star over the foot and put a pad over the toe. Because the hardest thing for a big toe, which makes it hard for it to heal, is you keep stuffing it in shoes. So you either got to wear one shoe that's really big, or they cut the leather and create so you have room, and then they put a pad over it. So
If you want to do it Miami style, have him play in chancletas.
Oh, now we're thinking, Donno.
Yeah.
Now we're
really,
thinking.
Yeah, why
Clear-
not?
clearly,
You can put cleats on there.
Yeah.
You
they do.
can.
It for wait, by the way, they do it for
Chancleta.
golf.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they got golf shoes that are they're the Canadian sandals though, with the strap around the back.
Well, then you know I don't support them if they're Canadian.
Gross. That's true. Donno hates Canada.
Yeah.
Why do you hate Canada?
I
Hey,
mean,
they had it coming, dude.
yeah, I'm not.
Hey,
I'm not.
hey! I got a house full of Canadians.
I
But
won't
that
say
bacon,
anything.
though. You call that bacon?
You're not going to be welcome back into the Horde household if you keep speaking like
I've
that.
never been welcomed in.
Yeah, it looks
You're
like no
always
one's
gonna be
welcome,
there.
Don. Are you kidding me?
I know you live too far away from me. It's the problem.
J-Fit comes.
I don't cross county lines.
That is true.
J-Fit comes.
What part of Miami do you live in, J-Fig?
Uh-oh.
By you.
You live by me and you go to Leroy's house?
Yeah.
All right.
Every
Well, how
week.
about this? Let's carpool next time. You pick me up at my house.
Hey, and then Marcos is the closest.
Yeah.
He lives
Sometimes
right
I
by
just
the Hard
stand
Rock.
outside of his
And
house.
he has a restraining order.
I know. God, you break into a guy's house a couple times. All of a sudden, he wants to get a restraining order. You guys were discussing where Jazz is going to hit in the lineup. Jazz has primarily been the Marlins' leadoff hitter this
Right.
season, batting 26 out of his 38 starts, number one, and he's hitting 265 there. Anywhere else in the lineup, he's hitting 143.
Ooh.
So,
Well, I think that if Arias is batting first, then you could bat Jazz second, or you move Arias second and put Jazz first.
Yeah, maybe just put Jazz
But
first. If
here's
there's
the
that much of a
problem. It
difference in
depends
the
on- it
batting
depends
average.
on-
Yeah.
It depends on how well he can run. Because if you bat him first and he gets on base, then you're going to need him to be able to either steal a base or move on a ball that's hit and break up a double play. If he bats second, he's got to get down the baseline so he can break up a double play. So
Right.
it all depends on how well he can move. And that's why I think to start off, they might bat him seventh, which is in effect the second number one hitter.
True. I
man,
say
Arias
give the man some
looks so
Canadian
good.
style sandals and let him steal some bases. Let's do this.
Yeah. Just looking at Arias' numbers, when he's batting leadoff, he's hitting an amazing 444,
What does he bat when he's not hitting leadoff?
381, which is still pretty good, but
Pretty
60 points.
So-
And keep
Big
in mind,
difference,
keep in mind, here's what's weird. He's batting over 400 and he bats more than anybody.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's back in the order. No. The number one hitter gets more at bats. 1, 2, 3 get more at bats than anybody.
What's his overall average on the season at right now, Marcos?
Is it 402?
Yeah, I know
no,
it's like
right now it is 399.
no, he dipped under 400.
Yeah, I know. What a bum. Am I right?
What a
Bum.
loser.
Jeez. That trash out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, as of Tuesday, 399.
Wow.
Oh, they said Waddle Bay Water says Jazz is batting third.
Okay.
All right. How does he know? What the hell? I mean, I'll take it though.
Maybe he's already seen the lineup sheet.
He's
He's
an
out
insider, unlike you.
I'm reading a Miami. Oh, that's true. I'm only an NFL insider. Donna, do you know I'm an NFL insider?
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, no, wait. We have to explain this,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Take it on
explain.
face value.
So they say, "Hey, I'm putting together the black book. Do you want us to put your number in there?" And so he goes, "Yes, I made it. I'm an insider." So
Yes.
Wow.
that's what he thinks of that because he had to put his number in there.
I'm
I'm
so
on
glad.
book
I'm
there.
so glad. I at least I don't think I'm in the black book because I get, I get enough calls to do other people's radio shows. You know, it's
Yeah.
If I
Not
don't put my number in the black book, here's what I get.
yeah.
I get a call from somebody else who knows somebody would say, "Would it be okay
Yeah.
if he gave you a call?"
I've done that to athletes before. Like
Right.
I don't think I've ever done it to you. I've done it to Crowder a few times. I've
Right.
done it to former Canes players a
Wow.
few times.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, have no fear, guys. If you ever need to reach anyone in the NFL, it goes, I don't know, Woj, Shams, well, they're NBA, but you
well,
get it.
like if
No.
you're an NFL expert, what order do you bat? Like, are you like the first name on the list of WQAM NFL experts? They call Marcos first.
That's
No,
what he
that
was
would
getting
be-
at, yeah.
That would be ridiculous. I am second behind Joe Rose.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe Rose is one.
Well, and you know Joe Rose probably turns down most of those requests, so they go right to you.
It goes right to me.
Hey,
Goes right to me.
Wow, so where does Leroy fall?
Yeah, I think
here's
well,
what's amazing.
He's batting
Well,
yeah.
Here's what's amazing, Donno.
right behind Len.
I have managed to work myself when all athletes, try to promote themselves or whatever. I have worked myself into oblivion to where I'm just a guy, right? And I say this because I asked the salesperson, I said, "You're sales, right?" "Yeah." "Who is the most successful athlete you have working on this station?"
Okay.
His reply, "Crowder."
Oh, it is you. It is really you.
And
it's
I
not
said, I'm
No.
kind of insulted that you're a salesperson and don't have that information. And it's my own doing.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell you, I've never made a big deal about it because I'm not playing football right now. So
You know what? Give me their name. I'm gonna talk to them.
Break their legs.
But it's amazing.
We're gonna have a conversation.
But it's amazing that people really believe that.
Could that also be like a regional bias though? Because like Crowder played for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I think that
it could be. It could be. I don't disagree with that. I think that's clearly plays a role in this. Like believe me, I didn't think I'd be doing radio in Miami, right?
When you also do radio in Cleveland, don't you?
I do.
Not as regularly, obviously.
No,
but you do.
No. So
I'm
I don't.
number 4, though, right?
Huh?
I'm number 4. It has to be. There's Leroy. I don't know. Joe Rose, Crowder. Who cares? They could be 2 and 3. But then it's definitely like me at number 4.
Wait,
I was
Tobin is on every show nationally.
Yeah.
I think they call Tobin first.
I think they do.
I feel like they know that he would answer.
No way.
Like I don't know. People still think I'm mean as hell. Because they saw me play football, so they think I'm mean as hell. And I'm like,
you're a teddy bear.
But I tell people, how are you supposed to act when you're the smallest guy on the field and people are trying to beat the brakes off you on that big play? You're not going to be walking around smiling. I'm like, all right, man, you. And then here's followed by, I thought you were bigger.
That's when you hit their you hit their knees, and then that's when you're like, I am.
How tall?
No, you know what I tell him? I said, have you ever tried tackling me? So how the hell would you know how big I was or wasn't?
How tall are you, Leroy?
6 feet.
Yeah, see, you're not like for a run, like you're a big dude, you're muscular, you're like 6 feet is not for a running back, you're pretty good size, man. You're not a left tackle or something.
Nowadays, keep in mind, when I was coming out, you had a bunch of 235, 240, 250 pound running backs.
That's true.
I mean, the last of those guys was probably Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, when I went to the Pro Bowl, right? Here's the other running backs. We had Natrone Means. We had Chris Warren from Seattle and Marshall Faulk and me, right? Now, the first play of the game, you have to play the position you were picked in, regardless of, what kind of offense. Mm-hmm. So Pittsburgh mostly ran a 1-back offense, but we had to do 2-back. I was the fullback, and Natrone Means was the tailback.
Wow.
And he weighed 30 pounds more than me.
He was huge.
And so I turned around and looked. I'm like, hey, man, don't hit me.
What else we got, Marcos? Any more headlines?
Yes, our final headline, I had mentioned it earlier. The Florida Panthers participates in the NHL draft tomorrow, and Matthew Tkachuk came third in the MVP Hart Memorial Trophy.
And we don't have a first round pick, right? The Panthers looking second round?
Second, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Smith and Smolnik, you can go directly to hell. Do not pass go.
What did he say?
If Leroy was a teddy bear, he'd be a Build-A-Bomb.
I mean, I've never gone to Build-A-Bear, but I would go to Build-A-Bomb. That's funny.
I always try to, when we're at the mall, I try to steer my son away from Build-A-Bear. I've never done it before, but it just looks expensive. Like I see the kids coming out of there. Yeah.
They said my
exist.
baby could get a free bear. Someone said that if I
Really?
go there, something like if I go there during, but I feel like nothing's free there, so I never.
No, it can't be. They probably charge you like a $20 cover charge just to get in for the free
Probably.
bear.
Yeah, can't trust.
Man. We got any weather or anything?
Yes, Leroy, why don't you head over to the Windowplex so we can get a weather? Demesman and Dover Law Firm, your accidentattorneys.com. Free consultations 24/7 at 866-95.
Moving over to the South Florida Davie Windowplex.
Love it.
Looking outside, it is partly cloudy.
Right.
Light breeze. Actually, it's a pretty pleasant day. Winds of 5 to 10 miles an hour.
Nice.
Out of the southwest.
Love it.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
And,
none of my trees are moving.
Yeah, no, I see some clouds moving, J-Fig.
Yeah, that's another good way to go.
Hey, let the professionals do their work.
Okay.
Get them angry now.
And the temperature is about, I'm going to say,
Hot.
87 degrees.
Ooh, that is pretty warm.
I got winds out of southeast 9 miles per hour. They have partly cloudy, like you said, and 92 degrees is what they have.
Oh my goodness!
And he said southwest.
No, he said southeast, I think.
I said southwest
because
I'm looking at the clouds and they're moving in this direction from my house. So that's out of the west.
Yeah, but did you take into account the gravitational pull of the excess of the wind?
You need to stop while you're ahead.
Please.
Yeah.
You don't even
I'm
know
also,
what you were getting at.
I'm a weather expert as well. I just want to be an insider of all things.
I guess so. When are we doing the mixed bag? Are we doing that coming up?
Mixed bag coming up next.
Let's go. Keep it locked. AM 560 Sports WQAM. I'm still laughing at that Twitch message that came in from Benny that said Marcos is an insider in that he never goes outside.
It's how to break my heart again, huh, Donno?
Solid.
Break my heart. Still a point, though.
Point for Witcher.
Hey, I got one for you.
What you got?
Marcos is Adam Hefter.
Adam.
Point.
I think Dave said I was
Dave's out.
Peter King. He said I was Peter King.
Peter King.
Point.
That's probably my favorite one.
Peter King.
PETA. It's PETA.
Peter.
What do we got? Do we have a mixed bag today? Tobin and Leroy show, by the way. Donno filling in for Tobin today and tomorrow. I'm leaving town Thursday, so I don't know who you guys are going to be with on Thursday and Friday, and then Tobin's going to be back at some point next week. But we got Marcos here. Marcos, what's in the mixed bag today?
I'm not going to tell you.
Because I heard
All
your
right.
feelings.
In today's mixed bag, we do have some interesting sound bites I'd like for you guys to react to. We're going to start in the basketball world, if that's okay with you guys. Are you familiar with the Dennis Rodman? You familiar with that guy?
Yes, we
multiple
are.
times.
Ooh, okay.
I have hung out with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. One of my favorite basketball players, actually. Pretty cool. Was it as wild as one would expect a night out with Dennis Rodman would be?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Larry Bird. Have you guys heard of that person?
I'm familiar, with his work. Yeah.
Keep J Fig away from any kind.
He was the OG.
Keep
Steph
me
Curry.
away from him.
He was basically the OG Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Indeed. Dennis Rodman had some choice words for the Celtic legend.
Really?
Saying that
We ain't got nothing better to do.
Larry Bird wouldn't last a day in today's NBA. This is what he had.
Whoa. That's Larry Legend. You can't talk about that. Can't talk like that about
Europe.
That's...
If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. So I'm just letting you know, man. Really, like I said, don't just say he'd be somewhere over there. Because I think his game was fit for Boston at that time in the 80s and stuff like that. But today's world, oh hell no. There's no way. I'm not downplaying him because he's a great player at that time, just like I was. And but I'm saying no, there's no way. I think the kid from Denver is way better than him.
Wow. So
Here's what I would say.
That he's not.
I would say
better.
Here, I would say Larry Bird's game is very similar to Luka Doncic in that it's methodical. He knows where and how and when to get his shots, and he can shoot from anywhere.
That's the thing.
So to say that game wouldn't work today when you got a player that looks exactly like him, it's crazy.
Well, and the whole thing, what you said, like and I know it's not the end all be all because of physicality and size, but being able to, what did I miss? Shams
Marcos
charcuterie?
is Shams charcuterie.
I had to throw that in there. I'm so sorry.
Witcher.
I cut you off.
I'm sorry. It had to be.
That's great.
Because Donno, I want to give you my undivided attention. And as long as that was out there, you wasn't going to get it. You wasn't going to get it.
No, I got nothing else except to say that the fact that Bird could shoot from anywhere would translate okay to today's game.
Like,
so,
forget here. Guys who could shoot from anywhere chose not to shoot the three like that. If the three was a more prevalent part of the game, then he would have been great at that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was no spacing back then. People didn't care about spacing. Everything was done around the painted area, mid-range. So Bird perfected that along with shooting the three, winning the three-point contest like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling that guy, the closest thing to him right now, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
With how methodical, ball handling, doesn't do anything really fast, but always seems to get his shot and make it. So the fact that, I would have more of a issue if there were nobody that played a similar style game that was having success now. Right. And so you have your guys that are playing basketball now that, for example, there's no Giannis 30 years ago. And in fact, we all flipped out. Who was the Lamar? When Lamar Odom came out and was a 6'10" ball handler, we flipped out. Oh, I've never seen this. Wow. And Europe has these guys walking the streets, right? 6'10", 7-foot ball handlers. So although the game and guys, great players will find a way to be great, right? And so if you take, like when the old guys say LeBron James would have never made it in the 80s.
Right.
Who's getting in front of him?
Yeah. What about, you said there was no Giannis 30 years ago, but what about, somebody points this out, what about Wilt Chamberlain? He was a unicorn back then. I think Wilt could play today.
Wilt was a unicorn in that he was built like Joel Embiid. But think about Joel Embiid and the skill set that Joel Embiid has. So he would have had some success, but not like the game has just progressed. That's all. Yeah. And these great players that played back then, if they were playing now, they would have had the ability to progress with the game because they were great. So just to discredit them because they didn't do it the way guys are doing it now is a bit unfair, because a great player does it how it needs to be done.
What else we got in the mixed bag?
We've been following and monitoring this very closely since it developed the potential billionaire brawl between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Can I say something real quick? I saw the other day that like 72% of Americans would root for Elon Musk over Mark Zuckerberg. That goes to show you how unpopular Zuckerberg is. Because I spent a lot of time on Twitter, and I don't really care this much about like famous people, but all day on Twitter, I see people complaining about Elon and how much they hate Elon. And you're telling me more people would root for Elon over Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg must be the least popular guy in America then.
Well, he's also bigger.
Oh, Elon?
Elon.
Yeah, he's 6'1" in comparison to Zuckerberg's 5'7".
But Zuckerberg has been training jiu-jitsu for years, though.
Quite some time. He's like entered and won various tournaments.
Yeah.
He's like,
so I don't know what Elon's credentials are, but I know Zuck has combat credentials, so I'd probably think Zuckerberg could have something for him.
I'm going for him.
I'm going with the guy that's from South Africa.
Elon actually had a GSP come to his defense and say that he would be. Donald, drink that water one more time.
Yeah, it's green screened out. You see that?
Oh, that was trippy. That really blew my mind. That is impressive. GSP, arguably the greatest UFC fighter of all time, is
one of the greats.
He's, backing Elon and saying that he's going to train him. And are you familiar with the loudmouth himself, Chael Sonnen?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I love Chael.
He made some bold statements yesterday on Ariel Helwani's show in regards to this. He even put a date as to when this fight could possibly take place. This is what he had to say.
Because he saw your tweet that I'm coming on. Oh, my God. Zuckerberg has told me that he has agreed to fight Elon Musk at UFC 300. And it was a very big deal. He kept bringing up like the date because Elon could never say he doesn't have something to do. He could never say that he was busy. So what do you want me to do with this? Why don't you call in? Why don't you just call in? He said, you tell Ariel. Ariel knows how to get a hold of my people. That's what he said. I delivered the message.
Is this true? Is this a shoot?
That just happened. Ethan is my witness, my son Thero, my dog Duke.
Well, I mean, if his dog Duke saw it happen, I've got to believe it.
That
Say, is that true, Duke? Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Spoiler alert, Zuckerberg has already come out and denied that they ever even spoke.
Because how do you know Chael Sonnen is lying? His lips are moving. That dude, he's an entertainer. That you can't necessarily believe a word he says.
But here's the deal. Can you watch two people fight and you hope they both lose?
I would figure out who to, I'd probably root for Elon. I would find somebody to root for. Yeah.
So people really don't like Zuckerberg that much?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, because isn't one of the big things with Facebook, they feel like they're like selling all of your info. It's like a big deal. Like Twitter, people are mad that like they don't like the layout of it, but like Facebook, like you're mad because they're selling your info allegedly. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Also, does everybody have your info?
By now, yeah, because I've been on Facebook for 20 years. Yeah.
Well, no.
I'm an NFL insider. I have a lot of info. But yeah, that concludes our mixed bag for today.
I love it. Well, we will be back. I want to talk a little bit more about Dame Lillard. We haven't talked about Dame since hour number 1. Keep it locked right here. Donno in for Tobin and Leroy Show, AM 560 Sports, WQAM.
Can you feel the heat down in your soul? I feel the heat down in my soul. Can you see the heat?
So the GM of the Portland Trailblazers, after last night's summit with Dame Lillard, said, the meeting went very well and they're looking forward to continuing working together. And what were, we got some tweets earlier, Marcos, from Barry Jackson that implied that Dame is at the very least going to kind of be patient, stick it out, and see what the Trailblazers do this summer, which doesn't necessarily mean he's out of the picture. But from a Heat point of view, you'd kind of like to know if this is doable or not. Like, you'd like to have a better idea. Is this something we should keep waiting on, the possibility of trading, making a mega trade for Dame, or do we need to start circling back to plan B?
I think the pieces that you would add should have nothing to do with Dame.
But could that affect, like, if you're looking at, you've got bird rights on your own free agents, like Strus, who I don't think is coming back, but Gabe Vincent, who might be coming back. Don't you kind of need to decide what you're going to do with some of your free agents that are hanging in the wind?
Yes and no. I think Dame is one of those players where you can be a little more patient with it. And if the other things don't work your way, then you can live with it. But you can't put yourself in a situation to where when it presents itself, you're not ready.
Yeah.
And so the things that I would have loved for them to add John Collins.
Me too.
And I've been asking about that all year. Because, they always said he wasn't happy in Atlanta or it wasn't working out. And I'm like, it'll work out here.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all the things. Length. He can, he has some blocks up against, near the rim. And he shoots the three. All things that, Miami Heat could use. But I do believe that the decisions that you have to make with Strus and Gabe Vincent are the decisions that you were going to have to make regardless of who's on the roster.
Right.
And so those decisions shouldn't have anything to do with whether or not you get Dame. For example, I think they're going to go Strus or Duncan. Me personally, Dunk's a better shooter. He has proven that.
Yeah. Strus a better overall player, though, but his shooting got ice cold.
But here's the thing. Here's what helped me with the Duncan situation.
Yeah.
He's got more of a bag now in that he does other things.
Right.
Like he can identify when they're squeezing him on a 3-point line and cut to the rim and take somebody off the dribble. So he's expanded his game a little bit to where it's not just spot up 3-point shooting. Right. Gabe Vincent, that's a guy that, as far as a ball handler, as far as a menace on defense at that position, that's something that you can use. So the decisions that you're going to make with Duncan and Gabe Vincent should have no bearing on what your plans are to try to get Dame.
Right.
Because keep in mind, if you re-sign any of them, you ain't going to be able to trade them anyway. So the decision can't go and wait for Dame. You're going to have to make a decision on these guys. Me personally, I'm still trying to figure out what do the Heat, we don't know. What do the Heat think of Yurtseven and Jovic? Because the 11 minutes I saw of Jovic, I got excited.
Same here.
That was Euro basketball at its finest.
And I watched him in Summer League last year, and Yurtseven a couple years ago, same thing. I like these guys.
Right. So what is their role? I can't imagine that. I don't care that he's 19 years old. He's been playing against grown-ass men.
Yeah.
Longer than some of the guys you have on your team.
Yeah, when he was like
not
15,
help you out?
16, he was playing in the Euro League against real men.
How can they not help you? A couple of minutes. Like, I don't want to see him develop next year. I would have liked to see him get some substantial minutes this year and develop him this year. So next year, you already know where this is going.
I like it. 305-567. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. They have new reports that Dame, one of the things that he requested in the meeting was to re-sign Jeremy Grant and to get Draymond Green over to join Dame.
Is that going to get you a championship? I mean,
I don't know.
Well, here's the deal.
Wow.
He ain't getting Draymond Green.
Even if he does, like Draymond Green in 2023, 24, like it's not getting you over the hump. Maybe like 2019, 2018 Draymond, sure.
Yeah, but Chris Haynes also reports he doesn't want to be on a team where it's just 3 all-stars or 3 superstars. He just wants a team that has a shot. Does that team have a shot, though, necessarily?
No, they don't have a shot. They don't have a shot.
Here's the other thing you have to understand. If you trade Dame Lillard, your bench and your others are going to be depleted. He has to understand that.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. One of the things that makes the Heat so appealing in all of this is that they've always been able to retool and find those guys.
Exactly.
And so if you're a basketball player and you're looking at teams to go to, you can always have confidence in that the Heat will put the guys necessary around him to make it work, even if I've never heard of them. And so that's one of the things about the Miami Heat that a lot of teams can't say when they bring in these superstars and they have nobody, surrounding them. I mean, Denver did a good job of that. Denver had some depth, some length. They had a lot of guys who were contributors, around their superstars.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have headlines from Marcos. And we still got a lot of games we have to play, Marcos, right? We still have Damage is Done, my friends. We still have lists of lists. We still have summertime. We're going to spend the entire next hour playing games.
Should be fun.
Summer camp is open for business when we come back here on AM 560 Sports WQAM. It's got to be one of the most loaded hours coming up in the history of the Tobin and Leroy show, at least for the brief history that I've filled in on this show, because we have headlines coming up. We've got lists of lists coming up. Damage is done. Are we Xing out the summer trivia? Maybe we can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll X out summer trivia, but I'm just going to take an opportunity to congratulate an enemy of mine. Schmeathan Schmolik is roasting me in this chat right now.
I'm telling you.
I'm
just glad he's focusing on you and not me.
These are good. Look, I'll tell you what. These are good. When they're good, they're good. So far, he says Marcos is Chris Morton Steakhouse. Marcos is Jay Glazed Donut. I saw one that he did earlier. I saw that J Fig put it up or gave him a point for that one. Marcos is Ian Snack Rappaport.
That was my favorite one.
That's a great one.
Pretty good.
Out of the recent ones.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
so,
Point for Twitcher.
Now that your self-esteem is at an all-time low, can you give us some headlines?
absolutely. And these very sad headlines, or low self-esteem headlines, I should say, are brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
We have been talking about baseball all day today. LSU Tigers won the College World Series yesterday, even though Leroy says that run differential paints them as the loser, and as Boston Celtics fans would agree, winning just portions of things might as well count as the whole thing, right?
Yeah, you win more quarters, you win a series. Let's go.
There you go. Sticking in the realm of baseball, your Miami Marlins. Today, Sandy takes them out against the Boston Red Sox as they begin their 3-game series against them, and also the return of Jazz Chisholm. So,
I like that.
And it's been reported in this chat that he will be batting third. So you heard it here first, essentially.
I'll take it. I heard it from Jay Glazed Donut.
Okay.
Insider of all things.
A little bit of hockey. Matthew Tkachuk yesterday came in third for the MVP trophy, behind 2 other bums that didn't deserve it because he was playing with a broken sternum, which he expects to be able to return, but does not necessarily have an exact date as to when he'd be ready.
Can I give you a 20-second hockey rant?
I would love a second.
Connor McDavid, like, he runs away with the MVP.
Oh, runs away. No surprise winner.
What has this dude won? I mean, McDavid, you know he's going to let you down, and his teams are going to let you down in the playoffs. Matthew Tkachuk got all the way to the finals when Connor McDavid was golfing the week of the Stanley Cup finals.
Hey, right. It's a regular season award.
Pasternak. Didn't Pasternak come in second? That guy gets knocked out by Tkachuk in the first round.
It's a regular season award. Hold on. All voting is done before the playoffs start. So regardless of what happens, the winner is already determined before all this that you're talking about takes form.
They should give out the award then before the playoffs because it's
I
mean,
remember they kind of did. They do it in basketball. They do it in basketball.
Oh, they do. They anoint them. That's right. But then they have the end of the year award. You're right. NFL Awards does it at the end too, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I feel the same way, Donno. I don't want to hear about a regular season award after a playoff run.
I mean, even the Heisman Trophy and all of the college awards are given before the playoffs.
That's right. That's the way they should do it.
Is it even before bowl season?
It's like, it's like the first weekend of December, so you might have gotten like a few crap bowls in by that time, but you know what? It's before, isn't it before the conference championships? Is it the week before that? Yeah. So wait. It's before bowl season.
No, it's right after conference championships.
Oh.
Whatever, man.
It's before bowl games for sure. For sure, it's before bowl games.
In other news, an NBA report was released linking Klay Thompson as the least likable NBA player.
Is that real?
That was definitely you.
There's no way that's real.
I mean, I conducted the report.
He was the only voter.
And you were the only
insider.
Yes, for sure. As an NFL insider, I can now conduct reports. And that's what I'm breaking.
Wow.
But yeah, they have Leroy. I'm surprised you haven't really mentioned this. Probably because it's not real golf. They got that Capital One's the match going down this Thursday with the Splash Brothers.
The Splash Brothers against who are they?
Isn't it against the two guys from the Chiefs? It's against Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes,
and the tight end
and Kelsey.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey.
Are those things fun?
Yeah.
No way. You said that golf is a sport that you love golf that you sleep through.
Now, are the Saudi Arabians, are they putting this one on?
Watch.
Is it a live event?
No, but it's little Saudi Arabia, which is Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
Vegas
there's a big difference between casino money and oil money. I'll take the casino money.
I'll tell you what.
The oil money, when they can make the prices whatever the hell they want.
It's crazy.
Here, put it this way.
They're printing money.
If this country takes a turn for the worse, you still gonna need gas.
Right.
But you might not go to Vegas.
Not unless it rains too hard, and then South Florida won't have any gas.
Oh my goodness. Is that unbelievable?
That happens.
That was rough, dude. That was absolutely rough. Going back to baseball for a second, the Miami Hurricanes baseball team promotes J.D. Arteaga to baseball head coaching job.
Yeah, 20 plus years working on the staff, pitching coach. I know that a lot of people are they're a little bit uninspired by the hire. I hope he proves them wrong because JD, he loves Miami. He played at Miami before he coached at Miami. I hope they can open up the budget for his assistants, and I hope that they really open up the NIL budget for baseball. And I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Arteaga.
I only have one problem with the University of Miami.
What's that?
Nice. Only one.
How are you going to be an international school with nothing but Latin American access, and you don't have a golf team?
They have a women's golf team.
They have a women's golf team, but not a men's golf team.
Yes. Good women's golf team too.
With all the great golfers coming out of South Florida.
I made that up.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I think
probably,
of all the places in the world, right, in this country, that has to be one of the more shocking things that the University of Miami doesn't have a men's golf team.
Right. It's because they can't get they got to do the same amount, the Title IX, they couldn't figure out the scholarship count as well. Like I'd love it if they had a men's soccer team. They've got a women's soccer team, not a men's team. I'd love that. A lot
of those sports are considered clubs. So they don't count against.
Yeah, like they have, I don't know if they still do, but for a while, maybe they still have a hockey team, but it's a club team. It's not like an NCAA.
Right. So
sport.
It doesn't, right. So they play, through the University of Miami, but they're not affiliated with the University of Miami athletics.
Right.
But if they should happen to win something,
what in the
you best believe U of M going to jump all over it.
Yeah. By the way, this texture is so right. I was talking bad about Saudi Arabian money, and he says Donno is waiting for a huge offer from I don't know if I want to say that. It's Saudi Arabia before he bounces to the Middle East faster than Ronaldo. Listen, I can be bought. My allegiances can be bought.
We can all, sit back and say, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't do that. But I'll tell you this, and this goes for all those golfers, right? Golf is a tough sport in that if you don't play well, you don't make a check.
Mm-hmm.
But your expenses never change, right? There are guys that spend $1 million for travel and hotels and stuff like that, $1 million a year. Right. So that means before you break even, you got to win $1 million. And these are the top guys. So if you have a bad year, you not only lose your card, but you don't recoup the money that you've invested into yourself. So the PGA Tour doesn't have a pay for play. They do it a little bit different. Tiger used to go over to China and Asia and all these places and play, and they'd pay him an appearance fee. They paid Tiger $3 million to go play, and the winner got $200,000.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
To get interest in the game. Yeah. The PGA Tour doesn't have that. What they do is they have all these sponsors. So you have RBC, you have all these sponsors, and they have Buick. Remember, Tiger used to be with Buick.
That's right.
One of the things that Buick would pay him a boatload of money, he had to play in all the Buick events. So
Okay.
that's how they get around that. But that only applies to the stars.
Right.
Right? So if I'm a professional golfer and I only make money if I make a cut or am competitive and I struggle or have an injury, right? That doesn't guarantee me anything. And somebody comes along and says, not only are you going to play for bigger purses with less people and everybody gets a check, but we're going to give you $20 million to come sign up with us. If that is your profession, that's what you're trying to get. So I don't ever have a problem with people going and get their money. And for people to say, oh, how could they take that money? The same way everybody else could. You do business with unsavory characters on a daily basis. Stop pointing at other people and their business. And I don't need to mention no names. But
say it.
I'm going to tell you like this. The Ponzi schemes don't happen by themselves.
Oh,
right?
Ponzi
schemes don't happen by themselves. So how is yeah, man. We do business with unsavory characters on a daily basis. You weigh the benefits. You go, all right, maybe I got to get a couple additional papers signed. I'm gonna go with it. Stop acting like, oh my goodness, you're gonna point the finger at somebody else for going to take the money, but your ass would take that money too.
Look, from taking money to making money, there is an announcement within my field. All right. This is something that I'm familiar with.
The insider field?
Even more familiar with game show hosting.
Oh.
There is a new host of Wheel of Fortune to follow Pat Sajak.
Who?
The remarkable Ryan Seacrest is the new host of Wheel of Fortune.
This dude hosts everything.
He's literally everywhere.
He is the master of all ceremonies and has just been named Pat Sajak's successor.
I respect Seacrest's work ethic because that dude, like, he probably wakes up at like 5 a.m. and he's just going from show to show that he hosts until midnight.
Didn't he do is he the one who created the Kardashians? He was the producer of the Kardashians.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tell you what, Khloe Kardashian's birthday is today. How'd you know I was gonna mention that, Leroy? Perfect.
Is it?
Happy birthday, Khloe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was she 40 yet?
No, I think she's 38 or 39. I have 39 here. I saw someone else say 38. Who cares? It's her birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
To her and Tobey Maguire. That's my Spider-Man.
I got to tell you, man, when they did the live action Spider-Man movie that came out a couple years ago, they brought like everybody back together.
Yeah.
Felt like Tobey was a little washed. Like,
wow.
Yeah. Like, I was really impressed. Andrew Garfield impressed the hell out of me. I came out of that movie. I was way more impressed with Andrew Garfield than I was with Tom Holland. Way more impressed than I was with Tobey Maguire, who I thought came off washed. Super impressed with Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is one of the great actors of a generation.
He's one of the great bad guys.
He's incredible. But Tobey Maguire, I thought, man, I'm glad that dude's not Spider-Man anymore. Can't pull it off anymore.
I mean, well, he's 46, Donno. Well, now he's 48.
Tobey Maguire is 48.
He doesn't even look like that, to be honest.
Wait,
yeah, he's 40.
Tobey Maguire's 48?
Today it shows he's 48. You can tell.
He's Donno. He's not Canadian.
Wait a minute. So wait, you say something like that, and then coming in theaters real quick.
Yeah.
Theater.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, he's washed beyond washed.
That guy is washed,
bro. Like I watched the show that came out on Apple TV Plus with the dude from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's like they're all like it's a good show. They're like therapists, and Harrison Ford is in that show, and he's playing like a washed older gentleman. And I thought, okay, those are the types of roles that Harrison Ford should be playing in 2023, appropriately cast as a grumpy old man. You can't throw this guy back in Indiana Jones. I'm sorry, it's over.
Who is the one star that did action films longer than anybody?
Stallone is still doing it.
Nope.
Yeah.
No?
Clint Eastwood.
I was just gonna say that because I was watching a
Yeah.
movie yesterday
Eastwood,
by
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Forgot what it's called.
But didn't Clint Eastwood, didn't he kind of transition more into non-action roles? Now, like he's been at it forever, but isn't he doing mostly non-action?
I mean,
was one.
I gotta tell you, Drug Mule was pretty action.
That's not what I saw.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And then let's not forget what's the El Camino. Wait, no, what's the movie with the car?
Gran Torino?
Gran Torino. There it is. Gran Torino, like, yeah, and you know what it is? He don't do no action, but his movies are action-packed, and he just the cool-ass old dude. And
I'm telling you, Stallone is like 75, and he's juiced up like crazy. He's still kicking people's asses.
Clint Eastwood is 93.
Yeah, but he's not doing action anymore, though. He's just like you said, he stands around. The action kind of happens around him. Stallone is still kicking butts and taking names at 75.
Dude, if I make it to 93, I won't care. I won't care. I'm gonna take my garbage to the streets, just naked. They're like, I'm 93. Who cares?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Al Pacino. He's 83, and he's not in that.
But that's not action.
Yeah, he doesn't do
He
action.
ain't doing action like Clint Eastwood.
Although he's doing action in the bedroom.
He's got a kid on the way.
Having a child.
This guy's in some action.
Yeah.
But I guess he's not as old as Clint Eastwood.
Come on, dude.
Don't disrespect him.
Whatever.
Don't disrespect Clint Eastwood.
He's old.
I tell you who's not who's the martial artist who's old as hell too. He ain't doing action films.
Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
Yeah. Chuck Norris ain't doing action movies anymore.
No.
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood is.
I would love it if they brought back.
I remember back in the day when he was Dirty Harry.
Stranger. Yeah.
Dude, when he was Dirty Harry, he carried around a gun that was this big in his pocket.
Wow.
Like, it was crazy. The old 6-shooter.
Got anything else, Marcos?
That concludes our headlines. Dirty Harry, also a ridiculous action movie. I would never believe this. Look at this huge gun he's walking around with.
Right? I told you. Look at that gun. I mean, look like the gun is this big.
It's a shotgun barrel, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yep, that concludes these headlines.
All right, so what do we got next? We got damages done, my friends.
We have damages done, my friends, and then we'll close it out with list of lists.
I love it. Let's go. Keep it locked right here. Tobin and Leroy Show. Donno in for Tobin. AM 560 Sports, WQAM. One of the great Tuesday games in history. Well, damage is done, my friends. I'm going to let somebody else go first. Donno in for Tobin today. We got Leroy here. Marcos. J Fig is in the building. I love J Fig representing the U as I am today. How do we do this, Marcos?
I'll go.
Leroy, you can start us off.
All right. So here's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with people coming over to do yard work, right? Everybody knows what time of year it is. They come at 12, and then at 2 it rains, and it prolongs it for 3 weeks. When you know, if you want to get a job done in South Florida, your ass got to be over here bright and early. So when it goes on for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and this is everybody, if you have some yard work done at your house and the person show up at 12 o'clock, he ain't trying to do no work. It's going to rain.
Yep.
You know how committed a guy is to doing the job at hand if he comes bright and early because he says, I want to try to get this in before it rains. So to anybody who shows up at the house and then say, we have to come back tomorrow to rain, the damage is done. You already knew you was going to have to come back tomorrow when you showed up.
Damage is done, my friend.
When you showed up at somebody's house at noon.
He's going to come back tomorrow at noon.
And
Same
check,
drill.
is it already cut?
Huh?
Is the check cut already?
Well, yeah, you got to put down. First of all, ain't nobody doing nothing without no deposit.
Right.
They ain't doing nothing.
Which is funny. Because you don't get the work the way you get the check. Right? They want that. They won't even consider your ass for work until you put a deposit down. But I want that same energy to get the job done.
Boom.
Is that asking too much?
Boom.
Is that being unreasonable? Is that being a Karen? No, it's not.
I got to tell you, man, I'm going to go back to sports with mine. I'm starting to get a little annoyed by the lack of, I'm going to say it, the lack of courage and the lack of conviction by Damian Lillard. Who's dragging his feet here? Like,
I like it.
Wait a minute.
You're tired of the flirting.
Donno. You do realize that you just went after one of the good guys in professional sports.
I don't need a good guy right now. I need a new whale with my Miami Heat. I mean, we're hearing about, he's got all this loyalty to Portland, and he's not the type to exercise player power and ask for trade. You know, maybe if they can sign 60-year-old Draymond Green, that might be enough to keep him happy over there in Portland. Like, dude, you know the drill, Dame. The window is going to start to close here within the next couple of years. You're not going to win anything out there. Like you've done your time in Portland. You've served your hard time out there in Portland. You've been loyal. You've been a steward to that franchise. The fans love you. They're still going to love you if you realize now you're almost at your mid-30s. It's time to come to South Beach. It's time to win a ring in Miami. It's time to play with Jimmy, and it's time to play with Bam. You've got to actually be a little assertive over there in Portland. It's time to tell them you want to be traded. Instead, dragging his feet, I don't like it.
Can I ask a question, Donno?
Damage is done, my friends.
People on South Beach, I will.
Hey,
damage is done, my friend.
Can I make one small comment on that?
Sure.
You do realize you call them out for damage is done while doing the same thing by thinking of a situation only from your perspective. You want to wait. Let's be clear. You want an athlete in your city like Dame Dollar?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, and
I'm talking about his mentality when how he handles himself with the organization.
Right.
But listen, it's been done to me before by people who wanted to
to win or wanted to get paid a little bit more. I know loyalty is not a real thing here, so we got to get Dame to South Beach. Let's go.
All right.
Damage is done.
Damage is done, my friend.
I guess it's
Hey,
my
Fig?
turn now. Okay.
Yeah, what you got?
So my damage is done. Goes
Oh,
to
you coming in soft, so it means it's gonna be hot.
the privacy that I lost.
Whoa.
With my neighbor putting 2 cameras.
Huh.
That you can see everything in my backyard.
Really?
See everything
Wait a minute.
from my living room.
Whoa.
I don't like it.
Wait,
Wow.
how you know they can see everything?
Yeah, I was just saying.
Because they're pointed right at us. And the thing is that he constructed his whole house. So then he made the house bigger than any house on this block. So then his, like, where he has a camera, it's like taller than my fence. And it's pointing right at us.
Jeez.
Oh, so what I would suggest is keep it clean in the backyard.
I don't want to.
Probably best. Yeah, sometimes you want to do what you want to do. She can fit 200 people in her backyard, Leroy. You never know what goes on.
Exactly.
They're going to be streaming her whole 4th of July party.
Damage is done, my friend.
I don't like it.
That does seem kind of creepy. I ain't gonna lie.
Seem creepy.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Why does he need 2 cameras there? Number 1.
Yeah.
Is it
How do
one
you know they're
enough?
pointing at you?
Because I see them. They're literally right there. I can walk out and show you how they're pointing right.
Are you sure they're his cameras? They might be the government.
Wait,
why is the government on me? I didn't do anything.
You know
They don't
why.
know that until they watch you.
Isn't that's kind of creepy, J-Fig?
Exactly.
When did that person they've been there for quite some time and they just made this decision, or did they just move in?
The cameras went up not so long ago.
So the cameras went up, but like how long has that person been?
He's been here since maybe 1-2 years.
Oh, so it's a relatively new person.
Do you like to, when you're like picking mangoes in the backyard? Do you put on a show for the cameras? Like, do you like maybe you're on like Real Housewives? You don't know it.
You're like squeezing water all over his soul.
No, he doesn't deserve that. No.
Like J-Fig, like
no.
They want to call bird murder or someone.
Wait, J-Fig, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I know.
You need do me and Pops need to go over there and have a conversation with him?
Some cameras out.
He don't
Hey, I
want
still
Pops
got
over
some
there.
baby oil for when Rebecca's boyfriend came over. I still got some baby oil left. I could go and shine up.
You know what? July 4th, come over here and then show
July
me the
4th.
video.
All right.
Party bus.
Right. How's Dad feeling? He up for the task?
He's always up for the task, and
Tell him he just got to stand back behind me with that look. He don't need to say nothing. I got
it. My friend.
If that look terrifies the hell out of me, I'm wondering what it's going to do to a person that don't know.
All right, my damage is done goes to Molly Carter, which I'm sure you guys have no idea who the hell.
No,
that
is that any relation to Jay-Z?
Not even a little bit, actually.
Oh no, that would be. I'm sorry, that would be not Jay-Z, but Lil Wayne.
Both of them, they're both Carters.
Yeah,
Dwayne Carter and Sean Carter. But no, Molly Carter was. They're not related, actually. She was the president of Kobe Inc. So, TMZ reports that Vanessa Bryant wins big in a Kobe body armor lawsuit, right? So apparently, Kobe put in about $6 million back in 2013 for 10% interest in the sports drink company Body Armor. Several years later, the company sold to Coca-Cola for a whopping $5.6 billion. Wow. So Kobe's investment reportedly netted him around $400 million. Molly Carter, the president of Kobe Inc. at the time, said that Kobe promised her 2% of the cut. Kobe called BS on her and said that he never made such a promise. She ended up suing him. Obviously, we all know what happened with Kobe's tragic death before this was ever resolved. So Vanessa Bryant actually took the mantle in that lawsuit and made a counterclaim alleging Molly violated the duty of loyalty and essentially violated her terms with the contract. Long story short, through all the legal mumbo jumbo, comes out that Molly was quoted as calling Kobe Bryant an a-hole a bleep. Okay, look, a bunch of bad words. Let's just say that, and calling, going as far as saying negative comments about Vanessa Bryant's newborn, saying that her newborn has Botox lips.
What?
So all of these egregious claims that she made about Kobe Bryant and Kobe's family came back to haunt her. And long story short,
found that in like Discovery for the lawsuit where they can check all your emails and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. They went back to text, emails, and various reports that she made that were also borderline racist, saying that there were a lot of fancy black people on an NBA All-Star game jet that she was, that opportunity wouldn't have been able to be in her lifestyle had not been presented to her by Kobe Bryant. So long story short, her being the person that she is and attempting to get this money has come back to haunt her, and the damage is done as Vanessa Bryant has won a countersuit against her for $1.5 million. Damage is done to her. You try to sue Kobe Bryant for something that never happened and end up losing, but not only losing, now you owe someone $1.5 million. Molly Carter, the damage is done, my friend.
Don't poke the bear.
My friend.
Wow.
Don't poke the mamba.
You gotta remember, because if you sue somebody, then aren't you like they can go through all your documents and stuff. You got to make sure you don't have skeletons in that closet.
People don't think of that. People don't think of that. But look, here, let's be clear. That's one of the reasons why the Live and PGA Tour have come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks is because the Saudis don't want, but the PGA got to open up too.
Yeah.
And you don't want your players knowing that you always had this money and chose not to put it in, and give it to the players. Right. Because now all of a sudden you got these premier events that are paying with a purse of over 20 million, and that was all because of the Live Tour. So you got a lot of people that don't want their business out there, so you work something out.
I see that. That is damage is done, my friends. What do we have coming up to close things off, Marcos? What do we have coming up next?
To close things off, we're going to go and hit one of my staple games I'm attempting to brainwash into the community, List of Lists, in which I'm going to ask you guys your top 3 of the following topics. This one's going to be summer themed, so just have that in your brain. I'm going to hit you with the topic, and you need to give me your top 3.
Okay, so we're going to do lists of lists when we come back. It's the Tobin and Leroy Show on AM 560 Sports WQAM. Wrapping up a Tuesday episode of Tobin and Leroy, AM 560 Sports WQAM. Donno in for Tobin today. We got Leroy, we got Marcos, we got J Fig. Marcos, we got to do some lists here or what?
Indeed. This is a completely original segment. Never heard this before.
No one else would want to do this as well.
Yeah. Oh, hey. It's not getting crazy now. I got, everyone has lists. I have a list of lists. Why? Because I'm going to be asking you to give me your list of top 3 things. Okay. I will start with you, J Fig. Boom. Didn't see that one coming. Let me get your list of top 3, because this is summer themed list of lists. Your top 3 summer destinations. Let's hear it.
Okay. I've been to this very beautiful island called St. Thomas.
Oh, nice. Made that up. Cool.
Did not make it up. I would definitely go back there in the summer. Can I also include places I've never been?
Yeah, of course.
They say Italy in the summer is beautiful. I want to see that.
Real why? Like, I feel like Italy year round. Donno, you're Italian, aren't you? Is Italy year round good?
Yeah, or confirmed? It's beautiful. It's beautiful year round. It is. It's very hot though in the summer. Probably not as hot as here, but they don't have as good of air conditioning as we do here. That's the only thing you have to think about when you're there in the summer.
Are the bathrooms weird? I feel like the bathrooms
are weird. Yeah. Some I don't know about the ladies' rooms. Never been in one.
You can tell me if I have to poop in a hole.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Yeah, I don't know. The urinal situation in the men's room are like kind of like Orange Bowl-esque, like old school. I don't know. The ladies' room, I don't know. Yeah. It's like a trough. It depends on where you go. It could be a trough.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so Italy, St. Thomas, so far pretty decent. What's your third one?
I'll just go with the very basic Miami favorite, which is the Bahamas.
Oh, nice. Bahamas I'm more of like a Bahamas winter kind of guy, because it's like, everywhere else is kind of weird right now.
And you got to be careful that time of year, because something could come across from Africa and blow Bahamas away.
Pretty good. Donno, I'm going to go to you next. All right, you ready to give me your list?
Yeah, I'm going to give you
Wait. I apologize. If you have an extra one for hers, you can't add, but yours is a different question, actually.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. This is really getting deep. Okay, go ahead.
List of lists. You see what we're doing here?
Oh, man.
So your top 3 summer movies.
Like movies that came out in the summer or movies to watch in summer? Doesn't matter.
Anything that just gives you summer vibes.
Number 1 on my list, and I watch this every 4th of July, and it is it's considered to be the first summer blockbuster in the history of cinema.
You better not say Independence Day.
No, Jaws.
Whoa.
Jaws.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, every year I watch it on Independence
Why?
Day.
Are you trying to trick yourself into not going into the water or something?
No, listen, I love sharks. It'd be a pleasure to be eaten by a giant shark like the one in Jaws. Jaws for sure. Okay. I'm just going to group these into one, the entire Rocky saga, because I also enjoy watching the Rocky movies in the summer for whatever reason. That's a big time summer film.
Are you sure you're not Tobin?
Yeah, Tobin loves Rocky.
We share some interests, Tobin and I. All right, I try to hold it down when he's not here. And then I'm having a hard time after that. What's another
Sandlot,
summer?
Dude.
Oh,
hey, come on.
Can I take that? Because yeah. All right. You and I were Sandlot. I'm gonna go with that.
Has to be a staple of everyone's summer. Like
it absolutely has to.
Yeah. What about I Know What You Did Last Summer? Does that count?
No.
I've seen it.
That doesn't sound like fun.
I tried watching the first episode of like the series that was kind of made after the movie. Couldn't finish it.
Not a fan. All right. What about they have here Karate Kid? I don't know if I'd count Karate Kid as a summer movie.
It's a great movie. I don't associate it with summer the way that I do with the other ones that I mentioned, but it's a good movie.
It's hard because when a movie is filmed in a different country, it's hard to know what time of year that is.
Gotcha.
I think Karate Kid was filmed in America.
No, was it?
The first one was. The second one, they went to Japan.
No.
Was it? No.
Fine, dude.
The Karate Kid. They were in Southern California. Daniel San moves over from New Jersey to SoCal. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It was filmed in Calabasas.
Calabasas. Yeah.
Malibu. All right. And what about National Lampoon's Vacation? Do you count that one?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a summer movie. Never seen it, but I've heard it's good.
What?
I've seen it 10 times.
You've never seen it?
20
Came
times.
out in
Maybe.
85.
I've
Is
seen.
Hawk giving you
know
these
what?
answers?
It's funny because when you watch these old movies,
Yeah.
and you see like stars that went on to do other things. For example, you know who was in the Christmas Vacation?
Elaine from Seinfeld.
No, Elaine was the neighbor.
Okay.
But Marie from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, she was in that?
She had red hair. Yes.
Oh.
The mom. in
I do
Everybody Loves
remember that.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Leroy, are you ready for your list?
Yeah.
I need the top 3 foods that taste better during the summer.
Oh no.
Yeah. Ribs.
Ribs are always good, though, but they do taste better in the
Yeah.
summer.
I like a rib in winter.
Jerk chicken. Jerk
chicken.
chicken.
Good one.
Wow. Summer.
And crawfish.
Crawfish. I would have never. No burger, right? No burger, no hot
Because
dog.
you can have burgers anytime.
Yeah.
Burgers anytime. But it's crawfish season. So you can only have crawfish in the summer,
Gross.
right? Ribs. You can cook ribs anytime in Florida, but it's mostly known as a barbecue thing, a summer thing. And jerk chicken is another one of those things, slow cooking over the grill. Yeah. Burgers you can have anytime, anywhere. You can cook them inside, outside. The other items have to be done outside in the summer. You're going to take some time to cook them. And then crawfish is only a summer thing because the season is in the summer.
Menu 631 says corn dogs. What do you think of that? Is that like a summer food? Corn dogs?
No, corn dogs
You
at
don't even
any
grill
time of
those.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? One that I will say definitely, Dade South mentioned it just now too. He says Italian ice. I say popsicle.
Yeah.
Popsicles
That's
taste
not
better.
food.
That's food, dude.
It's food.
It's food
When
for
you're
Marcos.
When I say, what do you want to eat?
Yeah.
Nobody says Italian ice.
No.
Bring me an Italian ice, please.
If you would have said, give me your top 3 summer treats,
Nah.
that's a whole different
Food
conversation.
that tastes better.
I think he's on to something, though. That's
But it's
more of a
not-
treat.
If it's not
Summer
food,
treats.
what's a treat though? Something you can eat. The word
Because
Italian ice. Italian
either
ice
of
is
those
summer.
things, they're only in a solid state because they're frozen. In their natural state, you'd be able to drink them, not eat them.
Dang, that's so true. Because if a popsicle melts, I will drink that thing. I will not hesitate to do so.
Dude, in
That's a
fact,
good point,
I
Donna.
get those, the Publix and Walmart, they come out with the little bags of pops,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ice. You get like $5. I load up my freezer with them.
Yep.
But when it's go time, I take my little hammer, soften them up. Then you can just do it like a slushy.
I like
I
it.
like to catch them before they fully freeze, where they're on.
No, you let them freeze and then you smash them. Because if you do it when they're not totally frozen, if you smash them, it's liquid.
Deep.
He's right. Very deep.
And then
That's
you
my
got
childhood.
and then if it's summer in Florida, you got about 3.2 minutes to eat it. Otherwise, it's melted.
Exactly.
All right. Well, look, that was list of lists. Everybody gave their list of the various summer topics. My list is the top 3 water park destinations. Number 1, Rapids Water Park.
Number
Number
1?
2,
Number 1 is Rapids.
Why?
number 2, Volcano Bay. Number
Love
3,
Volcano
Leroy's
Bay.
Pool when it's done.
Yeah.
That's it, man. List of lists.
Good time.
You know what? I think we can get it done faster if we all go and help him
Yeah. for
No,
sure.
you can't. 'cause
rather
they're-
than the people
right
that were
now-
actually.
Right now, we're to the point where all they have to do is diamond bright and put the tiles up. So,
Yeah,
We can do that.
If I'm going to help, I
You
do
got some
require a
diamond right in your
deposit in
garage?
advance.
I do.
Jay, think you got some diamond bright in your garage?
I have everything in my garage.
Can I just
gonna
tell
do
you
that.
from now on, bring your dad. I want him to be a spokesperson for me because all I want to do is I say, hey, if you don't want to deal with me, you got to deal with my man. And he just give him the look. I can get so much done.
I like it.
I'm telling you.
Ride the Rapids, have some fun.
That's so
Ride the
funny.
Rapids, everyone. Hawk and Crowder are coming up
Rapids?
next. Yeah,
Number one.
Good times today. Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Marcos. Thank you, Jay Fig. We'll do it again tomorrow. Hawk and Crowder show coming up next on AM 560 Sports WQAM.
Text W